Alright, a very good afternoon, YouTube, Twitch fans, everybody out there. Hello, it's Captain Nabs here with you once again for another installment of A Pilot's Life here on Prepared, on Twitch, on YouTube. And we are still working for Air Transat, as you can see here. I'm just going to mute this guy right there because he keeps on trying to listen to me, and I don't want him to listen to me, frankly. Yeah, as you can see, we're still working for Air Transat. We got the good old PMDG 737 in the beautiful Air Transat colors. I really like this paint job. It's a very upbeat, bright, colorful paint job. I like it a lot. And yeah, I like this airplane a lot. It's a good airplane to fly. It has its few little idiosyncrasies here and there, but you know, it takes a lot of effort, but it's not it's no more challenging than most of the other jets, I think, once you get a little bit of a hang of it. So anyways, as you can probably see, or if you remember from our last stream, we are parked in Fort Lauderdale today, KFLL, and we're going to be heading back to Toronto for the next leg of A Pilot's Life here. So there is our current flight for today. We're in Fort Lauderdale, just north of Miami. We're going to head straight north, pretty much, more or less, to get to Toronto. And once we finish that, we're going to eventually do a leg from Toronto back to Montreal again. If I can find my list of flights here. There it is. So after this, it's another, again, Toronto, Montreal, and then after that we do a Punta Cana there, and eventually a turn to Nice in France, which is, that's going to be fun. It's going to be a while before we get to that, and chances are there's going to be a lot of stuff happening between now and then, because right now I'm on vacation and I can get a lot of stuff done, but my vacation is just about reaching an end, so this might be one of the last streams I do this week, and then it's going to be back to streaming rather infrequently, as I have a rather hectic, heavy work schedule after this week's vacation. So I'll probably get this flight done. I might get that return flight to Montreal done, and then the Punta Cana is probably going to wait a while. Probably going to be well after the release of the new sim before I get a chance to get that done. So anyways, the other day I noticed something that was neat in here, if I can find it, in community, I believe it was here, and there is airline leaderboards. I didn't know that this existed on here. I don't know if this is a new feature, I didn't notice it before, or what the deal is here, but you can look at your airline and see how you rank in terms of your particular airline in A Pilot's Life here. So you can see right here, I am the number 2 pilot of all time at Air Transat on A Pilot's Life. A few more points and I will reach number 1, and the star indicates that I am currently employed. So there's currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people employed at Air Transat, and I am the highest ranking person of the 5 that are employed here right now. It defaults to whatever airline you're working for, but you can go ahead and check out any airline you like. WestJet Encore, for example, where we worked for quite a little while there. I am the number 7 overall time operator of that airline, and well exceeding the current list of employees there. So it's kind of neat that you can see who's working for the various airlines. I didn't know you could do this, so that was kind of a neat little feature that I found out there, just to add a little bit more interest. Let's pick a bigger airline. Let's pick something like Delta Airlines and see how many people work here. A lot of points here. A lot of points. A lot of people have put a lot of time into this airline here. So yeah, you'd have 129 people have worked for this airline in total. It doesn't say how many are currently working. You can count it up if you really want to. I'm not going to be going that far into it. But anyways, that's kind of neat. I thought that was really neat, just so you can see where you rank relative to other people who work for your particular airline. And of course, there are, within the total statistics here for all of A Pilot's Life, you can see the current top 5 pilots for the last 7 days, last 30 days, and all time. And some of these guys, there's a few guys that are kind of dominating here who have flown a lot of hours in this software. So I don't ever think I'm going to get close to that, but I'm just enjoying the ride while we're doing it. It's a lot of fun. So make sure we have this current flight page up here, and we're ready to go, guys. We do actually have a little ATC if he hasn't left yet. We had a Fort Lauderdale ground. He's still here, so that's good. So let's see if we can get this flight underway relatively quickly here. I guess it would help if I put on my track IR. Stand by one moment. There we are, track IR, and there we go. We got track IR on, and alright, so let's just go ahead and we're going to do the pre-flight. We're going to get the pre-flight activities going on this. I did already prep a few things here. He says, let's get set up. Thank you. Alright, so the first thing we have to do, this sounds like it's super quiet today, and I don't know why. Let me just, give me a second, guys. I'm just going to do a little volume mixing here.
I'm out for the walk around.
I'm going to turn this stuff up a little bit. If it gets too loud later, especially once we start engines, just let me know, guys. Otherwise, we'll get this show on the road. So we got the batteries on. I guess probably before we do anything else, should get some ground power. You know what? Actually, that was okay volume. It was just for some reason that FS2 crew volume was super quiet. So let's adjust this audio here. Go ahead and crank this guy up because you really want to hear him over the sound of the airplane. He's kind of one of the exciting parts of being here. So let's get these IRSs aligning. Landing gear is good. I'm going to have to turn my head this way to see what I'm doing over here. Test the overspeeds. Test the flight recorder comes on automatically. It does. Good. And just a quick peruse through the overhead panel. There's a few things we need to turn on. And I think the FO will do this anyways if I let him. Okay, I believe that's good for now. And so before we do anything else, let's go ahead and summon the fuel truck. And the catering truck. And for some reason, my jetway is not here. I thought it was here. It's not. Don't know how we managed to get in the airplane without a jetway, but we did. A big jump. Request catering service. Anyone you like, I don't care. And then that's good for now. We'll request boarding in just a couple minutes as we get this show on the road. Other things, of course, we need to do. Make sure our parking brake is on. I'm going to go ahead and tune in the ground frequency just so we can hear him talking. Not that I think there's too many people. I haven't actually really looked, though, at VATSPI, so there might be a few people here. I don't know. I honestly just haven't looked. There we go. Alright, so we got the basics going on here, and we'll get started in the FMC as always. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the FMC on this side, but move it over to where it's more convenient for you guys to see. There we go. And of course, we're going to bring up the FMS because I have my remote CDU FMS, now known as AviaWorks, working here. If I put on that one, there we go. And of course, we need to have a flight plan. I have a flight plan. You guys just need to see what it is. Alright, flight plan. Stand by one moment, just bringing it up on the other screen. There it is. It's already filed, it's already calculated. I just need to bring it up so you guys can see it. Alright, so today's flight plan takes us again from Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood International to Lester B. Pearson International up in Toronto. We're going to have to do a few things here to get this going. Among them, we are, okay, of course, we're going to have to set up our FMC and just confirm the database is good for about 3 more days this week, but the database updates are coming. Position in it, go to the second page to grab a GPS coordinate. They should match. Notice that they don't match precisely, and that's okay if they don't match precisely as long as they're in the right general ballpark. That's the reason why you have 2 GPSs, is that if the calculations come back slightly differently, you can compare them, but as long as they are roughly the same, then you know you're doing well. And then we go to the route page. It's not a long route, so I'm just going to enter it by hand here. You can see it at the bottom of the screen there. I guess I have to actually put in all the information first. Fort Lauderdale to Toronto. This is flight number Transat 571. And then we can go and put in the information. We can put in the departure first. Actually, let's do that. And I have to refuel the aircraft. Just a second, buddy. I'm just going to put this in. I believe we have an ATIS because we have a ground controller. So let's just check and see what the Fort Lauderdale ATIS here is saying. What does it say here? ILS approach runway 10 left, departing 10 left and 10 right. So we're going to hope to depart 10 left. I would, no, 10 right. I would love to depart on 10 right because I want to try this sloping runway. I would really like to. So we'll request that anyways. We'll see what we get. Okay, sorry. Yes. Okay, we're getting to you. We're getting to you, buddy. Just hold your horses. Not that one. That one. Fuel for today. We got a block fuel of 11.7 kilos. So we'll just round it straight up to 12 kilos. And that gives us quite a bit of extra fuel. Montreal is our alternate, which is a good length away. We've got quite a few shorter alternates than that if we want to shorten the alternate, and I think we got 20 minutes of extra fuel as well. There's a little bit of weather around today, so we may have to do some diversions. Hopefully we don't have to hold or anything like that. But just in case, we've got about 20 minutes of extra fuel, and we've got the capability of changing the alternate because we've got the fuel for a farther alternate, and we can always change that for a shorter alternate and steal some more of that fuel for extra holding time if we need to. So I think we'll be okay. It's not supposed to be terrible, but there's just on and off kind of rain showers, convective activity around Toronto, so I don't think at any point in time it's going to be terrible. But there's a chance of some thunderstorms, so we'll see what we see. Q69 to Bricks. And then from Bricks we go direct to Oxman and join the Ling 2. So we'll put in the Oxman fix, and then we go departure arrival.
Ground, JetBlue 1393 with Oscar looking for a clearance into Nassau as well.
And we're estimating 33 right. I would bet on that, so I'll go with 24 right. I don't know. We can always change it later once we're en route. So that's good. Activate, execute, and then we can go ahead and...
Here are some water bottles for you. The security and safety checks.
6676 for JetBlue 1393.
Go for it.
Thanks. Clear to board.
No, I have to open the...
Alright, can we get 10 right for 1393?
101 people today. I have to open the door
We'll
for
call
catering.
right 1393.
Right aft, right forward. So we need aft and forward open for catering. There we go. Alright. And this is how it is when you're a captain, though, as at an airline. You're constantly answering a dozen different requests and juggling all sorts of people's different requests. 56.6 is the ZFW. Reserves today 2.1, 1.1, that'd be 3.2. And cost index, we're doing it at 26 today. Oop, shoot. Ah! There it is, 26. Got lost in the menus there for a second.
Okay, I'm back from the walk around. Everything looks good.
Check. Cruise winds today 286 at 7, and I did have a look at the upper wind chart, and for most of our route the winds are extremely light all the way today. So let's see if I can do a takeoff 2 and bug it up to 37 degrees. Let's see if it'll give me valid numbers. If I do 15 flap, I'm sure. Nope. Nope. Too little thrust for takeoff. So let's go ahead and go performance. N1 limit. Let's do takeoff 1. And we can do it. Okay, so we can't do takeoff 2. We had too little performance. We're not terribly heavy, but it's a hot day too, so that takes away, that penalizes your performance. Okay, so that's the takeoff. There we go. There we go. We're done with the FMS. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, and I will also get rid of this. And P Tizzle says, good luck, excited for the VATSIM integration in FS 2020. I absolutely am. That was going to be one of the things that was going to hold me back, and, whether or not I was going to really step into it right away, or whether I was going to sort of take more of a wait and see. And as soon as they said, like, oh yeah, guys, we are VATSIM day one, that really just sort of that made it a worthwhile experience for me anyway. So even if the planes are not great, at least you get the interactivity of VATSIM right off the bat. That's huge to me. So I am super excited. You better believe I will be flying. I will try to stream. I don't know if it's going to work. If things don't go well, maybe it won't work, but I'm going to hope to stream on release day, late in the day on release day. And it will be on VATSIM. It will be live, as it always is when I like to stream. Okay, so heading. Let's see here. Let's get some terminal charts up here really quickly. Alright, close the forward and aft. Yeah. Catering is done. I really wish they would just open and close their own doors. Use airports from FMS. Complete Fort Lauderdale. And let's see here. We need the departure. The ARC 7 departure. That's the one. Alright, first let's just do the airport info because we need a runway heading. So it's 096 I read off there. And then we need to go to the ARC 7 RNAV departure to see where we're going here. Is there a top altitude? 3,000 is the top altitude, so we're going to get this way back. 29, we're going to follow LNAV and VNAV, and just recheck my VPilot 8 is here. 10 right. Let's see here, altimeter 3004 is what I was looking for. So 3004, the FO has set that, and I'm just double checking, of course, that he has set it correctly. And that's basically it for the MCP. Test all the lights around the flight deck. And there is a ton of them in this airplane. It still blows my mind to see this thing lit up.
Blue 1393, ready for taxi 10 right.
And it's like I balk when I look at like the price, like some people charge for like you know, one of those complete total MCPs for the 737. Then you look at the number of lights and switches on here. You're like, no, the price is not totally unreasonable because there's a lot of lights and switches that you have to put in an overhead panel. So I understand why they cost so much. I wish they didn't, but I understand why they cost so much. All right, that's dust all there. So let's do this. Fort Lauderdale ground, a very good afternoon. Transat 571, looking for the IFR clearance in Toronto.
Transat 571, Fort Lauderdale ground, good afternoon. Clear to Toronto Airport via the ARC for departures and a child, maintain 3,000, expect flight level 350, 10 minutes after departure. Departure services unavailable, squawk 6617.
Okay, Transat 571's cleared to Toronto via the Arcus 4 departure, and as filed, maintain 3,000 initially, expect 350 10 minutes after departure. Departure on Unicom and 6617 for the squawk.
Transat 571, read back correct, quick start at pilot discretion, expect runway 10 right, off taxi.
Alright, we'll plan a 10 right for Transat 571, and we'll call you ready for taxi. Okay, so we got the code 6671, we got the 10 right, we want it in there. We got 10 right, yeah, okay, good. The ARC's for departure, so that's all in there. So this guy is ready. Are you ready for the takeoff briefing? Are you ready for the departure brief?
Go ahead.
That's a negative, sir. I'm over at executive.
Yeah,
alright. Give me a second here. I'm just going to pull this up. We're going to have the FMS down here as well to go through. Alright, so. Emergencies as briefed on our previous leg that we did the other day. We're just going to go straight into the departure, specifically out of Fort Lauderdale here. So this is taxi chart 10-9. We're departing 10 right from Terminal 4 here. I guess if we're going to go out Tango 8 somehow, and then at some point on one of these hotels cut over to Juliet for runway 10 right. It'll be fun because that's the sloping runway. I'm eager to try this. I haven't done too many sloping runways in the sim here, so kind of fun. The ARC's 4 departure today out of Fort Lauderdale, plate 10-3, and effective the 30th November 2018. Radar, DME, IRU, GPS on RNAV1, all required. Speed restriction, turbojets accelerate to 250 within 7 nautical miles of departure if unable to advise ATC. So they want you to go fast quick. So yeah, we'll clean it up and we'll go fast right away. 10 right, specifically climb heading 096 to 580, then direct to Jumar, then left on track 354 to Haipor. Okay, 1 second, let's just bring that up there. Yeah, 580 to Jumar, then left turn direct Haipor. Then on a Victor route to Arkies, the top altitude 3,000, the same one we set and the same one we've been given, and I'll set it in a second. I know I didn't, I know I said 29, I'll set it in a second. Let's just recheck those fixes. After Haipor comes Secor, Atone, expect 11,000 or above, which sure is showing 223, so we'll be good there, and the ARC's 4, and we are showing acceleration above 250 knots by Jumar, and 300 plus passing Haipor, so there we go. Terrain, 2,100 feet is the highest MSA around Fort Lauderdale. The weather is, it's okay here. It's, just check the winds here. Yeah, we'll go a little variable at 6. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. Hot too, 32 degrees. Not like hot, but pretty warm anyways. That's about it. Terrain, weather, operational. Quick check of any NOTAMs, anything of interest here. In Fort Lauderdale, it might affect our departure, lead-in lines, ramp control frequencies, serviceable Juliet 9, airline markings, not standard, runways, ungrooved, it's fine, marked threshold, not standard, and SIDS and stuff. Okay, SIDS, do we see anything for the ARCS 4 departure, especially 10 right? I don't see anything for the ARCS 4 that we're into approach procedure, so no, I don't see anything. And we don't have any broken equipment on the airplane. As far as fuel is concerned, we have... Alright, let's just set that 3,000 while I'm looking forward again here. We got 39 and 39. That's basically 78 right there. And then, yeah, another 42. That puts us up to 12,000. Perfect. Any questions?
No questions.
Pre-flight checklist.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Navigation transfer and display switches. Normal, auto. Window heat, on. Pressurization mode selector, auto. Flight instruments.
Heading 006, altimeter 3004. Altimeter 3004.
Checked. Parking brake.
Set.
Engine start levers.
Cut off.
Pre-flight checklist complete.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Just getting a little interruption there. Alright, so the pre-flight checklist is complete. These guys are basically getting more or less ready to go. For some reason, my gear always switches to up when I first move my rudder pedals or anything. That's the sound of the brake triggering there. Alright, boarding's complete. There we go, and we're ahead of schedule. Nice, I like it. Fuzzy seats aren't cheap, you know. What is fuzzy seats aren't cheap? I've totally forgotten what I was talking about. Sorry. So I don't always read the chats right away. I kind of glance over as often as I can, but then when I get on a roll, I don't think about it. Okay. So we're just about ready to go. No, that's not good. So we're going to go ahead and start the APU. And something's happening.
Here's the load sheet for you.
The load sheet. Thank you. So then he goes in, and he does it all himself. Last time I didn't even realize that FS2 crew does this. Maybe he's doing it, I don't know. Yeah, there he goes. So now he's doing it. He's going to the performance page. He's putting in the correct ZFW. I don't know if
your leg, please.
Oh, mind your leg, please. Yeah, so that's him setting the takeoff trim. And I will confirm the takeoff speeds.
Verify takeoff speeds.
Verified.
Check.
Nice. This is getting better. Like, and this is a new feature, I think. I don't think this ever used to do this, but I think they've added this as a new feature here in FS2 Crew. So good on them for continually updating their products. I do love it when a developer does take pride in their product and continue developing it over time. Unfortunately today my co-pilot is only simulated. I can't really find too many people who want to fly with me on stream. I don't know if I'm intimidating or just the idea of streaming is intimidating, but that's okay. It makes it easier for me to find the time. If I had to wait and coordinate with other people, I probably would never find the time to do this. Alright, so he's setting up all this stuff. APU is up and running. So we'll just do this. Come on, ramp guys. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Please disconnect the GPU.
Roger. Disconnecting the GPU.
There we go. Disconnects the GPU. We get ready to go here.
Hey guys, all passengers are on board. Are we cleared to close?
Yes, please. Go for it. Good to close. Yes.
Captain, the GPU is disconnected.
Yes. Yes, please. Am I talking to myself here? Go for it. Yes, short taxi. Yes, you're good to close. I don't understand what she's waiting for. Where's my... Sorry, guys. Stand by 1 second. Where is my SOP set? There it is. I don't know what phrase she's waiting for, so I'm just going to try and figure it out, because if you don't trigger things properly, that's the one thing about FS2 Grid. It is pretty reliable, but I like to try and trigger things as correctly as possible. Yeah, I'm just supposed to say thanks or something. Thank you, it will be a short taxi.
Thanks. See you out there.
There, now she's got it. I don't understand why that was so hard. Alright, cockpit to ground. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Can we pressurize the hydraulics?
Roger. You're clear to pressurize the hydraulics.
Before start checklist to the line.
Before start checklist to the line. Fuel 12.0 tons. Pumps on. Passenger signs on. Windows.
Closed and locked. Closed. Locked.
Locked. MCP.
Speed 143, heading 096, altitude 3000. Altitude 3000.
Checked. Takeoff speeds.
Sorry, I'm totally lost here. V1, 137, VR 138, V2 143.
Checked. CDU pre-flight.
Complete.
Completed. Rudder and aileron trim.
Free and 0. Set and checked.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Complete.
Before start checklist completed to the line.
Alright, let's get out of here. Alright, there goes the jetway. Here comes our tug. I could have pushed this back myself, I guess, but it's so much fun to do it this way. That's the one thing about FS2 Cruise, it's very picky about phraseology. If you say things that are a little bit off, and it won't recognize it.
We're ready for pushback.
Also, sometimes the voice recognition is not great. Most of the time it's really good, but you get a few things. Free and 0, it keeps on thinking I'm saying 3 instead of free. And no matter what I do, and I've trained my computer quite a bit, it does not seem to want to recognize this.
Locking gear.
Before start checklist below the line.
Flight deck door closed and locked. Anti-collision light on. Before start checklist complete.
Check.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear.
Alright, here we go.
Start at will.
Start sequence is 1, then 2.
Check.
Start engine 1.
Starting 1.
We now request your full attention as the flight attendant.
One thing I do have to do as well is just start my Sim Toolkit Pro here while he's doing
Fasten
that.
your seatbelt. Insert the flat metal clip to the buckle and pull the loosened strap.
Use my latest
Up.
brief quote
Trim
P.
the seatbelt, lift
Really
up
simple,
the portion
super
of the
easy.
buckle.
Roger.
Suggest that you
There it
keep
is.
the seatbelt fastened throughout the flight as we
Flight
make
tracking
the
is started there.
There are several emergency exits
And
on
we're
this
looking for
aircraft.
25%. We still haven't reached it yet, but we're getting close.
Please take a moment to locate the exit nearest you. In some cases,
There's the
the exit may be
25%.
behind you.
fuel on, the valves go bright, which means they're moving, and then they go out, which means the fuel valve is open, and then you come over here, you see fuel is flowing, and you see the EGT is rising. The N1, N2 is increasing, oil pressure is definitely increased, oil temperature is increased, oil quantity percentages are good, and away we go. There's the departure runway right there on the sloping side. I like this a lot. I just want to try it. I'm sure it'll become the novelty will wear off once we've been in MSFS for a while and everything floats properly. Here we go. And looking for stabilizing engines. Once the speed's all stabilized, the temperature starts to drop. There it is. Start engine 2.
Starting 2.
A life vest is located in a pouch under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed to do
Alright, so there he goes. He's starting engine 2. Starting valve is open. We had N2 rotation.
Your waist and adjust to the front. To inflate the vest, pull firmly on the red cord only when leaving the aircraft. If you need to refill the vest, blow
Looking
into the
for
nozzle.
25%. It would be a lot easier if I had fingers in the sim that I could actually just have a finger on this lever, and literally the second it crosses the 25 mark, I can just move it without needing to constantly click with the mouse. But anyways, valves are open. Fuel's flowing, EGT's rising. N1, N2 rising. Oil pressure rising.
You will find this and all other safety information in the card located in the seat pocket in front of you. We strongly suggest you read it before takeoff. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask one of our crew members. We wish you all an enjoyable
For 50, it's either 55 or 56%. I think it's 56% in this airplane. My other airplane is 55. 56. It goes off. There we go.
Starter cut out.
Thank you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and give him a thumbs up. Good engine start. And come over and disconnect. I don't know why you're like a mile away from us. If you have to walk all the way back here, you could be like, 20 feet away and I can still see you. I guess maybe it's indifferent to airplane position. If you're in a 4.7, you may want to be that far away, but I just find it funny. Like in a small airplane like this, he doesn't need to be that far away to be seen. Let's just get this open on my other screen here while I'm waiting for him to do his thing. And just 1 second, guys.
Unlocking gear.
Alright, there we go. Alright, I think I probably cranked these guys a little bit too high, so I'm going to crank that background noise down a little bit so I'm not trying to override it too much. There we go. Alright, and there they go. And then he is over there. And we don't want to do anything till he gives us a thumbs up.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Thank you. Because you never know when there's still a ramp guy somewhere around the airplane, so you don't want to move anything at all, any control surface or anything until you, or even the flaps until you've gotten the thumbs up. Flaps 15.
Flaps 15.
Flight control check. Pull up. Full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and rudder, full left, full right, neutral. And he does his thing, takes a whole bunch of stuff off. There we go. Before taxi checklist. Before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist. Generators on. Probe heat on. Anti-ice off. Isolation valve auto. Engine start switches, continuous. Recall, checked. Auto brake, RTO, engine start levers.
Idle D10.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Dispatch clearance.
Received. Checked. Clear. Received. Check. What's the appropriate call? I'm just trying to always remember these two, so the only way you can learn sometimes is by reading them as they come up. Checked.
Checked. Before taxi checklist complete.
Clear on the left.
Clear right.
I swear I said checked like 3 times already. Fort Lauderdale ground, Transat 571 is ready for taxi.
Transat 571, runway 10 right, taxi via Tango 8, Quebec, Juliet.
Tango 8, Quebec, and Juliet for 10 right for Transat 571, information Oscar. Now, maybe that's, sounded a little quiet to me when he was talking, so I've cranked up my VPOD a little bit more. And let's get out of here. So Tango 8 is going to be pretty much straight ahead and just bear left there. And while I'm just getting started here, just check and make sure that this is showing a flight in progress. It is good. It did automatically activate, so that's good. Set taxi light on.
Taxi light on.
And away we go. Another leg of a pilot's life. Back to Toronto again. Depending on the airline you work with, life can get very repetitive. Everything is an out and back, out and back, out and back. Bigger airlines with more extensive networks, you may end up hitting other cities and kind of doing things, doing triangles and all sorts of weird different shapes. But when you work for a lot of the, I won't say smaller airlines, but especially things like vacation carriers that really just sort of go in one direction. They go out to, you know, the beautiful locations and come back, then there's not a whole lot of variety in your flying. Alright, this is Tango 8. And it's a pity. I mean, you get to know your home base airport pretty well, and you want to come back to that periodically, but it's, you know, as far as the simulations are concerned, I'd rather just sort of see a whole variety of airports. That's why I like the schedules that are not just out and back, out and back, out and back. I like the ones that have a triangle, or any kind of like weird variations in it. Alright, Quebec is going to be the second left here, so here's the hold pad.
The cabin is secure.
Thank you. Yeah, once I get past this airplane, then that'll be Quebec. Yeah, I know, I taxi slow. But I hate the extra wear and tear it puts on the airplane taxiing fast all the time too, constantly riding the brakes. You ride the brakes enough in an airplane. When you're taxiing, you're always riding the brakes. So it's kind of nice when you don't have to ride the brakes. So keep the speed a little, keep the power a little bit lower, especially when you know there's a turn coming up and before too long you're going to have to slow down for it. Just a little zigzag to the left here on Quebec, but this is Quebec. Make sure, I'm not going to do it during the turn, but I should make sure we have Unicom up ready to go on number 1. Because this is only the ground controller and then nothing else. Then we do have some ATC in Jacksonville, so we will get some VATSIM ATC later. Here's the sloping runway. So used to seeing every airport in FSX being flat as a pancake. It's weird and wonderful to see a sloping runway. It's funny the things that add realism. You think the things that you think are relatively simple, but you take for granted that you won't have them. Things like sloping runways, you just assume you don't have them in a sim, so it's amazing how that adds a level of realism when you finally get one. Alright, so Unicom up on 22. Eight, there we go. There we go, taxi a little faster this time.
Air Transat 571, Monitor Unicom, have a great flight.
Thank you for your service, Monitor Unicom for Transat 571. Have a great day. Before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist. Flaps.
Flaps 15, green light.
Stabilizer trim.
5.5 units.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Swapcom 1.
Roger.
Fort Lauderdale traffic, Transat 571 is on the ground, taking position runway 10 right for departure on the Akuna 7 departure.
American Customs 721 on a short runway 8 right.
And I don't see anybody coming, but before I do anything else, I'm also just going to have a really quick look on VATSPY here. And no, nobody else is coming. Okay. Nobody coming on VATSPY. I just wanted to be sure, because I don't see anybody, I don't hear anybody. But unfortunately, there's plenty of people who fly around on the VATSIM network and they don't use Unicom when they should. busier airports, especially when you know there's other people around, or even if you don't, make broadcasts. You never know when someone's going to log in. Clear on the left.
Clear right.
Before takeoff procedures.
Check.
Another neat thing here I like is there's some good modeling right here of the EMAS system here. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before in real life or even know what EMAS is, but that's the EMAS system right there at the end of this runway. It's Engineered Materials Arresting System, so it's an overrun.
Ready to go.
It's an runway overrun that's designed specifically to stop an airplane. It's made of cinder blocks that are crushable. They're not, and so as an aircraft travels on them, it'll start to slow down. The further down the pad you go, the weaker the blocks are, and they disintegrate a little more, and the airplane sinks deeper and deeper into the blocks, thereby decelerating quicker than if you just were going freely across the pavement, but without ripping the gear off the airplane. So it does it in a somewhat controlled manner, and in 1,000 feet, you should be able to stop an airplane. I forget what the design speed is, but something you don't see at a whole lot of airports, but airports that are space constrained, that don't have a big blank area off the end for runway overruns, will have it. Alright, here we go, guys. Set takeoff thrust.
Check. Thrust set. $80 knots.
Checked.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up. LNAV.
Check.
Climb.
$1,000 to level.
Checked. Set flight level 350. I don't know why it's not accelerating.
Flight
again.
level.
Enjoying a bit of hand flying here.
0 set.
Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
Set speed 250. Flaps up.
Flaps up. Speed 250 set.
Checked. After takeoff. Come on. After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds. On. Packs. Auto. Landing gear. Up and off. Flaps. Up. No lights. After takeoff checklist complete.
Checked. Not sure why the VNAV didn't want to accelerate there right away.
Happy to release the cabin crew?
Go for it.
Okay.
Seemed a little odd. Really didn't want to, There's the turn. Yeah, it didn't want to accelerate there automatically, so I had to do it manually. I'm sure at 10,000 feet it'll accelerate normally. I didn't see any other speed restrictions though, it just wanted us to accelerate to 250 knots right away, so I don't know why it wasn't accelerating. It's a little odd. Still hand flying though. Why not? Enjoy it a little bit. Enjoy the skills here. What do we got? 20 degrees. Not terrible airplane to hand fly, but it's a little bit of a, without the feedback, it's a little bit weird sometimes. You know, I mean, you got springs on your control column that recenter it, but without feedback, it just feels weird sometimes. Not quite right.
Happy to release the cabin?
Yes. Yes. Go for it.
Okay.
Select Command A.
Command A.
And there's VNAV. Well, I overturned there a little bit. That's the trouble with autopilots sometimes, though, is they can be very aggressive when they want to get back on course. Whereas a pilot would look at it and say, well, you know what, we are supposed to be there, but I don't need to make an aggressive turn to get back on course. Just a small course correction and another 30 seconds to a minute will get me back on course. But autopilots sometimes don't have that luxury of foresight. They are just very simple, stupid machines. You know, I'm off course, ergo I must turn as quickly as possible on course. And that's it. That's all you get. So it's sometimes it's good for a pilot to hand fly, because a pilot will see more, know more, and they'll have a better overall situation awareness. Because now look, it turned to the right way too quick, way too far, and now it's overshot, and now it's going to come back. Whereas a pilot would have seen that coming and said, I don't need to correct that far because the course is coming back this way anyways. And you often find this with autopilots, is they'll often overshoot, and then they'll sort of back and forth and hem and haw back until they're all finally on course. Now that was of course my fault, and I botched up the turn a little bit while I was trying to get this guy to turn on the autopilot and everything. I kept the airplane turning a little farther than I should have. So I will definitely acknowledge that that the initial excursion was my issue. But as I said, this is one of the reasons why I think that a good set of pilots in an airplane is a big asset, because they have the foresight to see things ahead of time, you know, and predict. Whereas the autopilot often does not have that kind of foresight. The autopilot does very stupid things sometimes. I hate to say it, but it does. It's a dumb machine that's just like, it's off tolerance and it has to try to just get back on course with no sort of foresight as to, well, if I overdo it, I'm not going to be back on course. And see, now it's going to overdo it again here and cross right through the center line again, I bet, especially because we're just approaching another turn here. Yeah, looks like it's probably going to go through the course yet again. Especially because we've accelerated to a high speed now, so the turns are a lot wider now as we accelerate to that high speed. Just doing a little volume adjustment for my own headset here. It's a little bit quiet and hard to hear ATC sometimes. Alright, but there we go. So we're now underway. Goodbye, South Florida. There's Fort Lauderdale Airport right below the window there. Textures load anytime you like. Go textures, there it is. There's the Fort Lauderdale Airport down there. And there we go, northbound. I wonder if I'll even do some external shots here, if I can catch one with the airport in the background there. Mostly because at some point, I am going to need... Stand by. I just want to catch some nice views here. And we'll spend a lot of time outside the airplane enjoying the view, so it's kind of nice to get it once in a while. There you go. Farewell, Fort Lauderdale. Alright. standard set. Standard set. 2992 set. Alright, there you go. Wow, she's really having a hard time getting back on course now. Just cannot seem to maintain this course accurately with all the turns in it. I think it's almost got it though here. This time it's really gonna, hopefully it just doesn't overdo it. The trouble is it's overdoing it and then it's crossing the course again at 30 degrees. Like we're off course like a quarter mile to the right. It's doing a, you know, a hard 30-degree turn to get back on course again. I saw a little flash of lightning out there. Alright, let's have a quick look here and see what we got ahead of us here. Get the weather radar up there. There are definitely some buildups here in Florida. No surprise there. Look at her route now. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, well, let's do this then. There's no ATC around to talk to. So we're going to do this. We're going to do about a heading of 300 for about 20 miles and just go right around the west side of it. Just not even bother trying to mess with this. Go around it. And just a quick look here. I know Jacksonville Center was online. Nope, Jax is gone now. Now it's just us. Well, what are you going to do? I thought I might get a little bit better ATC coverage because it's a little bit later in the day than I usually stream, but no. Still just the usual. Alright, so about 15-20 miles on this heading, and then we'll be able to go back to the next fix, which is, what is that there? C something? CZ. So we'll be able to go back to CZ just as soon as we dodge a few of these clouds here. So we're dodging one off our right side right now. It actually doesn't look too bad if we take a little right turn here. It looks like actually we don't need to go all the way around. Yeah, let's do the right turn in here. Because that one up ahead, that doesn't look terrible anyways. This will give us a chance to get back on course a little faster. But this is why we're dragging around the extra fuel too, so that if we do have to do any kind of diversions, any kind of problems like this, get around, dodge around a little bit of weather, we got the extra fuel to deal with it. Yeah, see, it's not too bad. There's an opening up here. There's definitely some convective activity off to the left. There's some big ones off to the right, but there's a bit of a valley here. We're going to make it through here. Pick our way through that. Don't need the systems page up anymore. There we go. I don't know. I never did see. He did, yeah, everything's off, 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 off. Lights are all off. He's got the seat belts off. Yeah, everything's looking good. Everything's off. Perfect. Our FO here is doing his job, doing it well today. Some days he does it well, some days not so much. Today seems to be a day he's doing it okay. Might just take it even a couple more degrees. There's another big one there, although I think they're mostly below us now. We're kind of, yeah. Now, if I arm LNAV, is it going to fly the heading? No, it's going to try and aggressively intercept. So we'll just continue flying the heading manually for just a little while longer here as we get above all these clouds here, as we leave South Florida behind us. And I guess we can also do a quick little progress check here. Let's just see what it says here. Arrival in Toronto 21:11 Zulu. So that's just a little under 3 hours from now. Not doing too badly here. We're getting there. There we go. We're already passing this one here. We're going to be back on the on-course in just a second here. I might even just do it this way. If you're talking to ATC, you probably just request it from ATC. We're just going to go direct to CZ from here. And LNAV it. And there we go. Now we're doing okay. Now we got around all that weather. Let's bring the weather radar up and see if there's anything else further downfield there. When you're the captain, it's not just about dealing with the here and now, but it's about dealing with the future. Predicting the future, estimating what's going to happen in the future, and what they call tactical flight management, looking a long way downstream, not just 2 minutes or 5 minutes downstream, but what are you going to do 30 minutes and an hour down the stream? Like, there's a big line of weather coming up ahead. What are you going to do? What's your plan? You need to have some kind of a plan, and dispatchers are often useful for that. They'll hopefully help you out and give you a plan, but you gotta be ready to make those decisions on your own as well. The dispatchers are there to help you whenever they can, but they're not always around to help you either. That's another problem. A dispatcher will have multiple flights to monitor all at the same time, so they may not always have the capability to closely monitor your flight. By all means, use them as a resource if they can. The other possibility is that they may be out of communication ability. You are supposed to be able to talk to them, but maybe your ACARS is malfunctioning today for some reason, or just being very slow, and you're not getting messages through in a timely fashion, so you can't really chat with them. And you probably don't, chances are, unless you're at home base, you don't have a radio frequency to talk to your dispatch. Even if you have a radio frequency to talk to your dispatch, if you work for a bigger airline, they often don't want you using the radio. There's so many flights at the airport at the same time. If everyone was trying to use the radio to communicate with dispatch, it'd be very hard to know who's talking to who. A large airline dispatch will have 20, 25, 30 dispatchers in a room, all responsible for a select number of flights. And if you had airplanes calling in on the radio all the time and booming over the radio into that room, imagine the volume of noise and distraction that would occur. So a lot of airlines prefer the ACAR system, not because it's impersonal, but because it's more organized, more focused, less distracting. Other people are not dealing with what you're talking about. Anyways, there we go. We're getting a pretty good climb rate out of her still. Doing almost 1,000 feet per minute here through 30,000 feet. C minus 1 degree. What does that work out to? We've got to have an air data. Let me think here. There's got to be a way, you would think anyways. Nav status. Max rate, max angle. I'm just trying to think if there's a way. A lot of FMSs will have an automatic calculation to determine your ISA deviation, how far you are away from the standard atmosphere. I could do the calculation mentally at 31,000 feet. Well, let's do, by the time I finish this, let's say 32,000 feet. That'll be, in theory, 64 degrees below standard? No. Yeah. I don't even have a static air temperature. All I have is a total air temperature indication. I don't think I even have a static air temperature indication in this aircraft. I don't think. No. The airplane's got to be calculating it, but it doesn't show it to you. Isn't that funny? So I couldn't tell you what the temperature was outside the window right now. There's got to be there's got to be a way to find the static air temperature. The true air temperature is usually the one that's more relevant, but sometimes just for interest's sake, the static air temperature, you're curious to know what it is. Because at 32,000 feet, it should be about 49 degrees below zero outside. Now, of course, because we're going so fast, we're compressing the air in front of us and heating it up, so hence our true air temperature is much warmer than the actual static air temperature, but I'm curious to know, because it's the static air temperature as much as anything that affects your performance. And you compare it to a standard atmosphere. If it's really warm, you're going to have a lot worse performance. Anyways, guess I don't have the ability to determine that in this aircraft. I would have thought there's got to be somewhere. It's got to be in here somewhere, but I don't know where. I do not know the 737 well enough. I don't know if there's actually a static air temperature gauge, but the FMS, or the air data computers, have got to be calculating what it is right now in the airplane. Oh well. Anyways.
1011.
Checked. Alright, 3-4 for 3-5. We're doing pretty good here. Definitely some convective activity out there in Florida. You can see the west coast of Florida in the distance there. Trucking up the east coast. And there's VNAV path. Wait a second. Yeah, VNAV path, and come on, you can do it. That last 20 feet. You can do it, plane. There it is. Alright, anyways, we're level at this point, so what we're going to do quickly here is we're going to get the wind request. It's not going to make a whole heck of a lot of difference because the winds are pretty light and variable across the whole flight path today. Very light upper winds. I was looking at the chart and there's no jet stream anywhere close to anything, so just high pressure persisting everywhere, it seems. If I pull up my flight plan here and go to the maps at the end, not too much significant weather, some isolated CBs in mid-Florida, some isolated CBs there, and some isolated CBs at the far end. So some stormy weather out there today, but look, you know, we're talking winds of 10, 20 knots at, this is, what altitude is this, at 30,000 feet, 34,000 feet. You know, not until we get to Toronto are we even seeing a wind in excess of 25 knots at 34,000 feet. There's a little bit of a jet stream going on up there. It's not even that strong, but there it is. Load that cruise wind uplink and execute. And the winds appear to be blank. I'm not sure if they're actually blank or if that's just the way it shows up. Shows as blank. I swear I downloaded the uplink properly. Let's just see if we can also grab a descent forecast through the ACAR system here. Wind request. See if it comes back with any kind of winds here as well. Either way, there's not a whole lot of wind, so I'm not expecting it to make a huge heck of a lot of difference to our flight time today. Alright, load the wind forecast. There it is, yep, there's some winds there. It's funny that it doesn't show any winds here. Alright, but a quick check over. We're still showing 2110 in Toronto, 2041 for our top of descent, 9.8 fuel quantity when we get, or sorry, 4.7 when we get to Toronto. So we're looking at, yeah, and we only need, what, 3.2, so we still got about 1,000 kilos of extra fuel, so we definitely got a little bit of hanging around time, just in case there's some inclement weather around Toronto. Now, got another one up ahead here, pretty much right at 12 o'clock, so I'm wondering if we can shortcut this one a little bit here. So let's see, if we were to go to, actually it looks like this actually staying on course actually will do us a little better than turning, so we'll stay on course. Looks like it's just to our right of course. So there we go. Anyways, so we are now established in cruise. We got about 2 hours, 2.5 hours until we land in Toronto, so as always now is the time for chatting, and of course the subject of the day, like it is every day right now, is what's going on with Flight Simulator 2020 now. What's the latest news? What's the latest and greatest? Nothing terribly crazy that I can that I can recall that has come up in the last week or so. We're just slowly ticking off the days. Slowly, developers are making more and more announcements about what they're doing, as much as their non-disclosure agreements will allow them. One developer that did make an announcement was FS2 Crew. They've announced a couple of things. They've announced that they are, and I do like FS2 Crew, as you guys all know, as you see me operating it a whole bunch here. But FS2 Crew has made some announcements. They are bringing their software to the Airbus in the sim. So the default Airbus is going to have FS2 Crew is going to have a package that supports that. It's going to be button control only, though. It's not going to be voice command, which to me is 3/4 of what makes FS2 Crew useful. Most of what makes FS2 Crew useful is the immersion that comes from the voice detected interactions with the autopilots, with your crew member, with ground staff and everything. So switching to button control to me is not much better than just running with a default airplane by itself. So, and I'm not trying to criticize FS2 Crew. I think that they are working away hard on what they can, and just given the incomplete nature of the SDK that's coming around, not a lot of good stuff in there yet, I feel like. And so, a lot of these developers are going to have to relearn what they can do in the sim, and FS2 Crew will be no exception to that. So I have a feeling that's more the reason why. I think we will see the voice control come eventually, but it's a simple Airbus anyways. I've heard from people that they're not particularly happy with the VNAV. It's not particularly trustworthy or accurate. So why is my sim pausing? I always worry and hesitate when my sim pauses. Something's loading. I think probably we're getting close to Orlando. I think so. That's what's happening. Is it's getting ready to load the Orlando airport down there. Yeah, somewhere down there. FS2 Crew also announced another piece of software called Pushback Express, or Express Pushback. I can't remember which it is, but it's another piece of software for the FS 2020. They haven't really said anything about it at all. The NDA does not let them say anything more than what it's called. However, one would gather, based on the name, it's going to be some sort of a ground services integration. It may be improved pushback abilities, tugs, better control of where you're pushing back to than the default sim allows. We always know this default sim has never been very good for that sort of thing. Maybe this, this is a bit of an extension of their UGCX ground control for that they've been doing for P3D for I think it's been probably about a year now or so. So hopefully it's an extension of that. It's a completely different name though, so who knows exactly what they're doing with it. But companies are ready to capitalize on this platform already. FS Dream Team's still been sharing more and more previews of Chicago O'Hare for the new platform. Lots of people have been starting to share things now on the new platform. So it's good to see that the platform is really starting to come into its own. People are really. I feel like it's going to be very quickly that the software is going to come. The software is going to come, and the releases are probably going to come fast and furious between now and the end of the year. And for the new sim, and they may not all be there on day one, and frankly, we'll all be just having so much fun on day one, anyways. Latin VFR's previewed Miami for Microsoft Flight Simulator, so that one's coming. Flightbeam Denver is coming. We know that. And it's funny, a lot of these are airports that are already included in the sim. So I hate to say it to the third-party developers, but in a lot of cases, the ones that have been developed already, you guys are going to have to work extra hard to really prove that we should spend the money above and beyond what we've already spent. So because you look at it, like when we're buying like the premium, the deluxe package for Flight Simulator, you're buying it mostly, I think, more than anything because of the extra airports. Probably not so much the extra airplanes, although maybe 1 or 2 airplanes might be worth it, but it's more the extra airports that you're buying it for. So, and so a lot of these airports are the ones that are also going to be released again. So the Chicago O'Hare, the Denver. So these third-party developers are really going to have to push the limits to justify, the purchase cost again when these are already in the sim. When a higher detailed option's already available in the sim, how much more detailed is it going to be? So, and it's not to say that it won't be worth it. I'm not trying to say that, but the developers are going to have their work cut out for them to prove that it's worth it, I think. Now, just look at the weather radar here. We got another line coming up here that we just got to get through and around. And I think we might cut to the right again here. We got no Jacksonville Center online to complain to us about what we're doing. It's frankly really quiet up here right now. So there's one right in front of us. It's after the turn though, so we're trying to avoid it, but is there a better way to avoid it? You know what? I think our route here, it's going to take us, we're going to go this way a little bit, and we're going to cut right through that. You know what? We'll stick to the route. One that also made me really happy to read, and I don't know if you guys read this one as well, but Orbx also announced their kind of plans for the simulator and what they're doing. They've got a bunch of airports, you know, already just about ready to go lined up, and they have announced a couple of things with pricing that make me quite happy, and you know, will increase the odds that I'm going to give them more money in the future. And there's the fact that their pricing scheme that they're going to be launching with the new simulator is going to be a little bit lower than it has been in the past. They had a lot of sales during their Fly July event, and what they found was that the prices of the Fly July event really kind of crossed the threshold where people felt it was worth the money to spend on extra airports. A lot of airports, Orbx has an extensive library of add-on payware airports. Not to mention the freeware airports, but the payware airports. There's an extensive library there. There's literally a couple hundred, I think, at least 100 or so, across all the continents and everything. And you know, they don't charge an inconsequential amount, although they're not too bad actually. But a lot of them are in the, you know, 35 Australian dollars, so you're talking 25 to 30 US dollars. And what they found, of course, was when they put it to a price point where it just falls below 20 US dollars, it really, people start to say, yeah, you know what, that's totally worth it. And there's so many airports out there with Orbx that you kind of want to, a lot of them, but I think Orbx would also do well, and this is something they've also experimented with. I'm getting off on a tangent here, but, you know, anyways, I'll come back to that, but they've done some research, and I guess they basically decided that they're going to, at least for the time being, experiment with lower prices, much like Parallel 42 did. They're going to aim to keep things under the 20 US dollar range for the foreseeable future, which is not terrible. It's a good price range for a sim airport. The other thing they also mentioned is that upgrades for existing customers are going to be discounted a fair bit. So I'm just trying to see where it was here. So pricing for products for the new Microsoft Flight Simulator generally going to be from the 8 to 20 US dollar range, and if you're a previous owner of a product, you can expect to get a 40% savings on those products. The big caveat, of course, being that you need to have them through Orbx Direct for Orbx to recognize that you owned the software before. But that's really nice, and I appreciate that, Orbx. Thank you, Orbx, because, you know, honestly, I've spent so much money on this platform, and I hate to think that money is completely lost at this point. So you're really kind of giving me some faith that I haven't lost all that money in that sense. And it's just nice to recognize your loyal customers. You know, we supported you in the past. We want to continue supporting you, but there's only so much money we have. You know, well, a lot of us anyways. We have limited means, especially now. And part of the reason why you know, Orbx is doing this, and a lot of the companies are doing this, is they still recognize that the pandemic is going on, that a lot of people are unemployed or underemployed, or working less hours and making less money than they have in the past. So we don't all have nearly as much disposable income as we have had in the past, and it's nice that companies are recognizing that, stepping forward and saying, you know what, we're going to price the products a little bit lower, we still think you guys can afford this, and we'd like you guys to enjoy what we've done. Because what's the point of creating all this great work too, especially if very few people ever download it, buy it, and enjoy it. So first couple airports that Orbx is getting into the new sim, London City, which is great. I have that. I have barely ever flown it, and I would like to fly it, and I'm going to fly it some more if I can get the sim performance to work in the center of London. There's also going to be a London City pack for Landmarks London City pack, so it's just going to be basically just buildings and iconic structures around London as a separate lower price pack of $8 US, but a lot of iconic buildings. Innsbruck as well, another beautiful airport. I really love what they've done with it, and I can't wait to see what they do with it in the new one. Leeds Bradford, Orcas, Tacoma Narrows, and Hollywood Burbank, Santa Barbara. Those are the airports that are coming to the new sim initially, and you can bet that Orbx is planning to port a lot of their stuff over. They are going full tilt at this new sim. So there's going to be a lot of good airports there, hopefully, in the not too distant future. But yeah, one thing that I sort of thought a little bit about with Orbx too is the bundling, and they've done it already. They've bundled together a number of different items, common scenery packages that are bundled together, like their FTX Global Vector, maybe bundled together some of the open land classes. So they've created bundles where they have a discount if you buy multiple software at the same time, which is great. They won't extend the discount if you've already purchased the software, but you know, that's a good way to go. And I would highly endorse doing that with some airports as well. Grouping some airports that are perhaps close together. You know, get a couple of GA airports in Southern California, group them together in one package, and say, hey, go fly around between these airports. They've got a whole bunch of sort of different areas where they've got a lot of airports, a density concentration of airports, and maybe they could bundle a couple of those into a package and create some nice areas for you to go flying and have nice airports at both ends. So I think they could do that as well, because there's so many airports to choose from, and I would love to fly to some of them. But you know, and again, they don't charge an unreasonable amount, and maybe my equation will now change now that they're just discounting or lowering the overall price on most of the airports. Maybe the equation for me will change altogether now at this point. I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. Trucking up the east coast of Florida, still got a ways to go. Not much ATC online yet. Let's see here. Bring up my STKP here. Go to my live map. And hit follow me, because that is not where I am right now, but that's where I was flying yesterday. I was just looking around at the satellite view, so yeah, so there's the convective weather, of course, the area we're flying through. Up the east coast, we passed Orlando. We're coming up over Jacksonville in the next little while here. And then now we're going to keep on trucking northeastbound, basically northbound here. There is not much online today in the way of ATC. I do see a Toronto Center out there. So that's great. Hopefully they'll still be there in about 2 hours. Because it's going to be a while before we get there. There was a Washington Center on. That's also vanished, but that's the way it is sometimes when you fly in VATSIM. There's just not the ATC when you're around. And I saw someone complain the other day about it. Well, why would you fly in VATSIM when there's never any controllers online? But it's a catch-22, guys. The more people fly on VATSIM, the more people want to become controllers, and the more controllers who are already controllers want to be on. Because as you guys probably know, I'm a pilot and I'm a controller. I like to do both, depending on my schedule. But sometimes I log on and I'll spend 2 or 3 hours online, and I'll see 3 airplanes in the whole 3 hours I'm online. And then it just makes me think twice about coming on again the next time. So support your controllers that are out there. The more you fly to airports, the more you support controllers that are out there, the more they will come back online again next time in the future. So it's a catch-22. Controllers want to have pilots, or they won't bother to log on, and pilots want to have controllers, or they won't bother to log on. So we all need to sort of. That's one of the reasons why I do enjoy flying this network, even when it's quiet, when there's not a lot of controllers online. Just providing evidence that there's traffic there, and maybe someone will log in and say, hey, there's a couple of airplanes in my airspace. What the hell? I'll control for an hour or two. So it's a real catch-22, but I've never found any artificial AI ATC program that comes close to what real people can do. And it's not just accents, different ways of different voices and different accents, but it's even just different ways of handling things, and even just the communication that goes on along the edges too, around the periphery. That's not necessarily specific radio calls that are required, but just maybe a little bit of, thank you very much, or hey, how you doing? Just a little embellishments, if you will, on the ATC that just makes it more realistic. You're dealing with real people. You're dealing with air traffic controllers. They're not robots. They're people like you, and it's nice to sort of see that human depth. It's also great to fly on the VATSIM network. I've always loved it, and just fly to different places and see the vast amount of different experience, different accents. It's great to go to London and talk to some British guys, and you go to Germany, and then the guys there speaking German on the radio, and they have a thick German accent. It's great to see this global community that comes together. Nobody cares where you're from. We all have this hobby that we all share, we all enjoy, and I'll still defend this as still one of the nicest places on the internet to hang out, even though there's nobody really hanging out today. But there are a few rules, but the rules are not particularly strict, but it's just such a nice, generally friendly neighborhood to hang out in. You see so much of the internet evolve so quickly into name calling and just insults and flaming people, and just I don't want to participate in so many forums and bulletin board systems and whatever else there is, communication systems, because so often comments just instantly become negative. People hide behind their computer and be anonymous, and that's one of the things that I like about VATSIM, is that you're never really anonymous. You have to have an account with a real name, with a real email linked to it. It gives you a little sense of responsibility, I think. There's other things that contribute to that as well. It's not just the fact that you have to have a real name and a real email, but nevertheless, it's always been one of the nicer ends of the internet. Like I said, like there's so much so much hatred out there on the internet. People hate so much, and it's like they all should take a lesson from what their mother should have taught them anyways, which is if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. If you're not contributing to the conversation, if you're just insulting people, just stop. Just go away. Honestly, I don't see why people get this great joy out of doing it, just trying to make other people's lives miserable somehow. That sort of thing really bugs me. That's why I like the VATSIM network. People are so friendly, respectful of other people. We're not all experts on this network. There's plenty of people learning, new people all the time getting into this network. And last stream I had someone ask me, for help getting into flight simulation, hobby, and VATSIM was one of the first things I said, is you should definitely join VATSIM. It's free. It costs you nothing. You'll learn a ton. You'll meet people who know stuff, and even if you don't know everything, just be glad that there's other people around to help you learn. I just wonder if we should deviate a little bit right around this or not. It looks like we might be okay at this altitude. If I can turn the weather radar tilt up a little bit. I think we'll be okay. We'll just go around it. Very hazy sky there. For some reason, it looks like almost like an afternoon, evening sky out there. I don't know what's doing it today. It's very odd. I don't know if it's just a haze down here in Florida, but it's got this very gray looking. Not even gray, but just sort of just a little bit, just like a dusk sky almost. And it's not going to be dusk for hours, so it's weird that we're seeing that. But anyways. I don't know what else I got to talk about right now. If it doesn't involve Flight Simulator right now, there's not much other news right now, unless you want to get into real world problems and COVID. And I come on here to get away from that. As I was saying though, however, I am. This is probably gonna be one of my last streams, and not permanently, but I've been on vacation in the last week or so. So I've been enjoying some time at home. It's been great trying to get some stuff done before the end of the summer. And then at the end of this week, we're going on a camping trip, which is just going to be great to get out of the house, take the kids out of the house, just go away. I think everyone's going to need a vacation. This is one of the things that the predictions for the future. A lot of airlines and industry analysts are warning that business travel will never come back the way it was before. That companies have found ways to get around the bans on business travel and the inability for people to commonly travel for business. Through phone calls, emails, voice meetings, Zoom meetings, whatever. The need for in-person meetings has really fallen, and they're probably right to a degree. I hate to acknowledge it. So the general indication is that certainly for business travel is not going to recover for the duration of the pandemic to any great degree. Businesses are finding ways to buckle down to get by with as little travel as they can, and not much is going to change between now and the end of the pandemic. Only when the pandemic ends can business travel really be expected to return. So what airlines are going to find out is that they are going to have to rely on leisure travelers to become their primary revenue drivers. And in the past, it has been business travel. Business travel has always driven this industry. For years and years, leisure travel was a toy thing of the rich and famous for years. Going on vacations into different continents was something that only the richest of the rich did until probably about the 70s, when the jet age really kind of matured and you started to get the really large jetliners that could carry tons of people. The 747, of course, being the most dominant of those. That's when you really start to see vacation travel, leisure travel just take off like crazy. But leisure travel, because it's often a discretionary spending, it's a very price-sensitive market, and this is the balance now that's going to have to be struck. Because business travelers will gladly pay a lot more for a ticket that gives them flexibility to travel, change their travel plans as their business plans travel. Leisure travel tickets have generally been very cheap because they have change fees. They're generally people are not allowed to change their plans, and that's fine when you're on vacation. You stick with the plan you had. But people didn't pay very much for that. But when airlines are now going to be relying on leisure travelers to fill most of the seats and pay most of the revenue, what we're going to find, unfortunately, is that the price of airline tickets for economy class is going to go way up, because the business often buys the first class seats, and the economy class is supported more by the leisure travelers. When the business people are not supporting the airlines by paying the higher fares that they normally do to have flexible tickets, the leisure travelers are going to have to make up the difference in order for the airplanes to keep flying. So unfortunately, a lot of people probably won't believe it when they saw the bill for the last airline travel, but airline travel is the 6 months to a year ago was the cheapest it's basically ever been when you look at it in terms of inflation, in terms of the power of the dollar or whatever local currency you deal with. Leisure travel has never been cheaper. Airfares have never been cheaper for the low-end traveler. If you don't mind, a slightly out-of-the-way routing, an off-time schedule, you have some flexibility in your time, you can travel really, really cheaply. And people are going to be, I think, a little bit shocked at the price of airfares going forward now, for at least the foreseeable future, for the next couple of years. Because I think the one thing is, and I tend to agree with the airline analysts and the airlines, that the leisure travel is going to recover, and it's going to recover pretty quickly. We are all exhausted, mentally, emotionally, spiritually drained at this point. Everybody on this planet could probably just about use a vacation right now. So once the ability to travel kind of comes back in any great sense, people are going to take advantage of it. They're going to want to go on just vacations, just to get away, just to sort of forget their worries about this, about the outside world for a little while. So leisure travel will come zooming back soon when the borders really start to reopen, when countries can prove that they can control the spread of the virus, they can trace people and control the spread of the virus. Then I think the leisure travel is going to come back, and it's going to come back in a big way when it does come back. It may take a little while, and I'm not thinking it's going to come back probably even into this winter. Depends on what happens this winter, but my best guess right now is that with the kids going back to school en masse in a lot of areas, I think we are going to see definitely second waves surge in a bunch of areas, unfortunately. Will we reach the stage where we need lockdowns again? I'm certainly hoping not, but I think the borders will remain closed. People will be leery of international travel for at least another 6 months to maybe even to a year. Maybe it'll be even next summer. But once we feel like we have this under control and the borders start to open up leisure travel, it's going to come back in a big way in these airplanes. Business travel may not come back for an extra year or two after that, but leisure travel will come back because people are just going to want to go on vacation and get away, and I'm excited. We're not going for very long, we're not going very far, but we're just going camping, we're getting out of the house, we're going to have a vacation, and I'm excited. Long story short, though, that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to be streaming too much, because that's basically, after the camping trip, my vacation's going to be over. The new sim will launch. I'll hopefully get one stream in with that new sim, and then that'll be the end of it. We'll probably be, it won't be the end of it, but then I'll be back to working a pretty hectic schedule for at least the 2 weeks after that. And, yeah, I will not have too many opportunities to stream for a while after that, unfortunately. So yeah, the streaming's going to become sporadic. It's been a little bit more steady the last week or so, but it's going to become sporadic again. It's unfortunate, but you know, them's the breaks. You do it. You do what you can, and you know, especially with a hobby, you find time to do it whenever you can. One thing I was going to try and do, and I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to do it as well, I would like to stream, is I would like to take the MadDog up for another spin. Unfortunately, Air Transat does not operate any MD-80s, but I would love to take that MadDog up for a spin because it's been... there have been some really good updates recently, and for anyone who hasn't read about it, the one that... There have been quite a few upgrades to help make it more realistic. The icing simulations have gotten really good. There is supported shared flight deck now. Of course, I gotta relearn the airplane before I can even begin to attempt that again. There's a pretty thorough simulation of an ACARS system now, where you actually have to send times, fuel through the ACARS system, and if you have active sky, you can also obtain all the weather you need through the ACARS system, which is really great. You can even print it. You can even connect the ACARS system on the MadDog to your printer and actually have it print off physical sheets for everything that comes in. It might be a little bit wasteful, considering most ACARS messages are pretty short. You don't need a big full sheet of paper every time you get one ACARS message, but you can get your ATIS, you can get weather, you can even get segments apparently through Active Sky through your ACARS system with the MadDog. But the thing that now came out last week, or was it early this week? I think it was last week in the MadDog. The thing that came out was they finally released an update that contains their EFB. So the MadDog has followed the trend of the A320 and the PMDG products, and they have now mounted an EFB in their flight deck. And I have to say, I have only played with it a little bit. I didn't actually take it for a flight, but I just played with it sitting at the gate. It looks like a fairly user-friendly, versatile EFB. It does quite a lot of stuff, and I'm quite impressed with this EFB. For one thing, first of all, they do a very good simulation of an iPad. Simplified a little bit, but even down to where there's a bunch of applications on a desktop, and you can choose which application to run. But it has built-in weight and balance, which you don't even need to load up their external load manager anymore. You can run the weight and balance through the EFB. You can do your flight planning that way. You can look at the flight plan. You can download a flight plan from SimBrief and import it and look at it that way. I'm trying to remember what else it could do. Of course, charts, obviously airport terminal charts and stuff like that. The other thing that I thought was really, really neat was it has an aircraft technical log available now. So for every aircraft every airframe that you fly, there's a log of any defects that have occurred in the past, and as well as tracking which ones are currently open. So you can add. So if something actually breaks, you actually have to snag it in that technical log, and then call for maintenance to come and fix it, or you can defer it to a little later date, and it keeps track of all your deferrals. You can use it to call maintenance when something's broken, and they'll come to the gate and fix it for you. You can't do it in the air. You have to be at a gate with the door open in order for maintenance to come and do anything for you. But so it's a little bit gimmicky, but it's one more level of immersion. I kind of like it. I want to take it up for a spin, and I really would like to do a stream with it at some point, just to show you guys what it looks like, because it looks like a really useful EFB that does a lot of stuff. So I'm hoping at some point to do that. I have to go out and maybe fly that airplane a few times by myself without that, just to sort of get a feel for it before I try to take it out and play with it in front of people. That didn't sound right, but yeah, before I take that airplane up for a spin, I'd like to practice it once or twice. But I would really like to do it because I think that EFB is really worthwhile. I think it's worth showing. They for their price point, Leonardo was doing an excellent job of producing a really high quality add-on that they're just constantly adding more and more features to. So I'm pretty really excited to see what happens there. Anyways, it looks like Jacksonville Center might be back. 1:35:92. They were gone, but it looks like they came back. So let's get them up there. Are going to contact me.
3592. Jacksonville, good morning. I'm ready. 010, flight level 370 with you.
Berry 010 Jacksonville Center, hello, squawk 4100.
4100 coming up.
And Kodiak 9er Uniform Kilo, your radar contact as reported, maintain flight level 210.
210 and good takeoff there, about 2.
That's approved, just let me know when you're back. Southwest 662, Jacksonville Center. Sorry, go ahead, 662. Southwest 662, descend maintain 3000 now.
Center, November 9210 Charlie with you, flight level 380.
Alright, just gotta get a word in here in a moment. Jacksonville Center, good afternoon. Transat 571, flight level 350.
Approaching Juliet, Seaboot 024. Alright, I apologize, guys. The aircraft with the November number checking in with Jacksonville, the November tail number, say Sarah tail number again.
November 921 Yellow Charlie.
We're about halfway through his airspace already, aren't we? Yeah, about halfway through. Sucks sometimes coming on as center, and you got
November 9
30 airplanes
Juliet
trying to all
Charlie,
fly at the same time.
Jacksonville Center, squawk 2425. Victor Bravo Victor 097, descend and maintain 2000, and fly present heading, vectors for visual approach, runway 26.
Okay, descend and maintain 2000, and expect to land 26.
And November 1 Juliet Charlie, radar contact 17 miles east of
It's gonna take a few
Jacksonville
minutes to get a
Airport,
word in, I think, here.
maintain
I've got to step
50380.
away for just one moment. I'll come right back, and then we'll see if we can get a word in.
Delta 3305, your radar contact as reported, maintain flight level 360. Iberia 010, your radar contact 2 miles north of St. Augustine, maintain flight level 370.
Copy, Iberia 010, maintain flight level 370.
November 920 back at
I'm sorry, aircraft checking back, say call sign. 9 Uniform Kilo, roger, thanks. Victor Bravo Victor 097, airport is at your 1 o'clock and 8 miles, report in sight.
Foco,
And Victor Bravo Victor 338, your squawk and standby again, squawk TARA or squawk altitude, please. Now to 234, ATIS information Bravo just came current, Orlando altimeter 3000. You can expect the visual approach. You can either expect 3-5 left or 3-6 left, your choice.
Roger, looking at Airstat 3, can we go 3-6 for United 234?
United 234, no problem. Expect visual for 3-6 left.
Visual 3-6 left, United 234.
Check control, Freeboot 024, radio check. Legion 780, roger, stand by, please. And Victor Bravo Victor 024, I got you loud and clear. You can continue into the ramp there, sir.
Yes, I have to, you told me to taxi Alpha Juliet. I'm on Juliet now, and what will be the gate?
Victor Bravo Victor 024, any gate over there will work for you, sir.
Oh, Roger. Thank you for the ATC. Bye bye.
Thanks for flying.
These are 1057, half the runway.
Victor Bravo Victor 097, clear visual approach, runway 26.
Clear for visual 26.
Southwest 662, turn right.
See if we can get this guy now.
Or correction, 330, right 330.
Right heading 330, Southwest 662.
Jacksonville Center, hello, Transat 571, flight level 350, just west of Savannah.
Transat 571, Jack Center, I apologize. Reset transponder, squawk 1047, 1047.
1047, no problem, Transat 571.
Victor Bravo Victor
1047,
097,
there it is in the box.
26, clear to land.
And away we go.
Clear to land 26.
Victor Bravo Victor 338, I'm still showing you standby. I'm not sure why it's popping up and then going back.
Blaine M6, somewhere after M6, we're going to eventually cross out airspace.
Fly heading 240.
And the only reason I'm looking is because I'm already in need of another bathroom break and maybe just a few minutes away from the flight deck, so I'm looking for when we run out of the ATC here. We'll step out of the flight deck for 30 to 40 minutes. What do we got? We got less than 2 hours to go now. Yeah, a little less than 2 hours to go.
The Transat 571, your radar contact 100 miles north of Savannah, maintain flight level 350.
Thank you, maintaining 350, Transat 571.
Southwest 662, you can turn right, heading 350, and join the runway 35 left to localizer.
Alright, not too much weather out there now. I think we've left most of the weather behind, and if I go back and I check my SimToken Pro, yeah, there was quite some extensive weather there. A little bit on the climb out, quite a bit there up by Jacksonville. We left all that now, leaving that all behind us. And seems to be mostly the weather's okay. I'm just going to turn off the follow me for a second here. And yeah, even up here, Toronto's looking pretty nice right now. Not too bad at all. So that's pretty much it.
Bravo Victor 338, turn right, heading 270, descend and maintain 2000.
Not too much weather left along our route at least, so hopefully we'll have a good clean shot from here on up.
Down to 9,000, 234.
I don't believe we had any step climbs on this one. Don't think we had any step climbs on this one.
I'm sorry, who's that calling Jacksonville?
We had a short one. Then we were westbound there from one way to Zerbo and then back to eastbound the whole way. So pretty much it's eastbound the whole way. No need for a step climb.
Yeah, whoever that was calling, that's approved. You go ahead. Just let me know when you're back.
And away we go.
780, thank you for the wait, sir. Runway 27 right, taxi via Charlie, cross runway 36. Excuse me, Charlie Bravo, cross runway 36, and the Sanford altimeter is 3000.
Taxi runway 27 right, via Charlie Bravo, cross runway 36, altimeter 3000, lead to 7.
Alaska 1023, flight present heading, vectors for visual approach, runway 26, descend and maintain 2000. From Kilo Roger. Aircraft checking with Jacksonville Center. Had a lot of background noise, so just say your call sign one more time, please.
It is funny to listen to the different levels of background noise different people have on their VATSIM connections too. Some people have almost no background noise, and they sound like they're sitting in a nice sterile room, and other people sound like they're sitting in a flight deck with the windows open. There's so much background noise. For those of you that are users of the VATSIM network, we know you want to hear the background of the engines, and that helps to immerse you. But just keep that in mind that it's all being picked up by the mics as well. So try to keep the volume down or keep it aimed a little bit away from your head so that the mics do not pick up so much background noise. Personally, when I do streaming like this, in order to keep the feedback loops and the double sounds to a minimum, I actually turn off my speakers and everything just comes through the headphones. And it still works perfectly fine, but it reduces the amount of extra background noise and double and triple noise that you hear coming in through the microphone. So, and the same is true when you're just flying on VATSIM on vPilot. Keep the background noise. It doesn't have to be silent, but you shouldn't have to yell to be heard over the background noise.
Clear visual approach, runway 35 left.
You know, most airplanes, their flight decks are not silent by any means, but everybody will have a headset on to help reduce that overall noise level in the flight deck. So take it to that level. Take it to the level of if you had a headset on, how much would you hear? Because you don't want to. Yeah, there's nothing worse than trying to talk to somebody and you can barely hear them over the background sound. Yeah, I enjoy controlling thoroughly and I enjoy communicating with other people, but some people it can be very difficult if you've got just too much background noise going on in the sim.
1023, wind calm, runway 26, clear to land. Southwest 662, wind 320.
This guy is busy. I was just looking here and it looked like there was some kind of an event or something going on. There was a bunch of stuff coming on, though. Or maybe it's just a typical afternoon, but it looked kind of busy here in Orlando, and a little bit busy here in Jacksonville. A couple airplanes coming and going to Jacksonville. Orlando's always a popular spot as well. Jacksonville's not a huge center, but it does cover a decent amount of space, so there's quite a lot of airplanes. This guy's probably got about... This guy's got at least 25 airplanes on his... 20 airplanes on his freeze. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13... Okay, maybe he's got about... He's got a couple here. He's probably got about 15 people on this frequency, which is enough. That's, you know, it's not the end of the world, but every controller has a saturation point. Different people will have a different saturation point, but it's important for every controller to be aware of their saturation point and try not to get across that saturation point. And that's why they have sectors, and like in the real world, why there's multiple sectors, and things will usually be split into different sectors to reduce the workload, so no one person has more airplanes than they can keep track of, because the difference between being below your saturation point and being above it can be very small, but it can completely change your ability to handle the situation. People who are below their saturation point can continue to work just fine, but usually people who just cross that saturation threshold, it's different for everybody. Some people it's 5 or 6 airplanes, some people it might be 15 or 20 airplanes. It also depends on what you're doing, if you're en route or if you're in the tower or what. But the second you cross that, you lose your ability to keep track of the situation, degrades so much more than so, you know, it doesn't degrade proportionally. It's like you can handle it, and then suddenly you just cross that threshold and everything just falls apart. You really cannot keep up with it. And it's very important to sort of, for everyone to be aware of that. The trouble with VATSIM is that sometimes it's very hard to work around that, because you don't have other people to call and say, hey, I need help, I need someone to come and share the workload with me, because there's not always another controller around that is certified for that position to help you out. So you're kind of stuck with the workload you've got, which is why patience is always required in VATSIM. Nope. And there's the yellow light. Fuel, which means we get a little relaxed back here. Push my chair a little farther back. We do have the center tank is almost empty. The left side fuel pump is not cavitating and not pumping any fuel, so we'll shut that off. And in another 2 to 3 minutes, the right side will do the same thing.
001, you're leaving my airspace to the south. Miami Center is unfortunately offline. Frequency change advisory.
So another 10-15 minutes here, and we will leave Jacksonville airspace.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
going to be off his thing very soon here. We're burning through the last of that fuel in the center tank, and then we're
United 234 to center maintain 3000.
burning the main tanks.
Down to 3000, United 234.
Yeah, about another 50, 60 miles, I think, before we leave his airspace. Less than 80 miles. And then we'll take a little step away from the flight deck for an hour or so. Hopefully our ATC will still be online in Toronto when we get there. Fingers crossed. It'll be a good time of day. There's usually afternoon is more when you start to get people. The later in the afternoon it gets, usually the more controllers you get online. So I have faith that we are going to have some controllers online later on. Here's some massive storms here, though, across the Midwest U.S. Texas, however, looks pretty nice sunny. Texas is often a place that gets hit by huge, massive storms, so it's kind of funny to see no storms there for once.
Southwest 660, welcome to the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. You can taxi via Golf 1 this frequency.
Did you say after the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?
Thanks for flying.
Okay.
Airbury 034, you're leaving my
one thing we can do is we can start to set ourselves up a little bit for our arrival into Toronto.
Have a good one.
Monitor Unicom, thank you very much.
Let's go to CYYZ and let's edit this clip and just be
Legion 780, say altitude.
ready for when we get to Toronto. So let's go page down. And let's see, so we're doing link 2. I don't even know for sure which link 2 we're doing, but we'll put that one up there for now. And ILS to runway 24 right. And then we've got airport, we have apron procedures, parking gates, that's the other one I'm looking for. So we got some stuff there ready to look at. The other thing we can do, of course, right now is we can go menu, we can go performance, and we can actually do some show landing, show en route calculation, and we can definitely do some landing calculations anyways, or at least we don't have to do the calculations now. What we can do is we can start setting them up. We can always change this later. If I go with wet numbers, I'm curious to see reverse or config. I like to do it with no credit, just prove that we can land
Have a good one.
without the reversers. Flaps 30, AC on, anti-ice off. So we do auto brake 2, and no non-normal conditions. And wind, can I get?
Delta 3305, relieve my airspace to the south. Miami Center's unfortunately
there's the other fuel
offline.
tank. So
Frequency change is approved. Have a good one.
Let's do that. There we go.
Fuel pumps off.
Checked. Data link. Can I use this data link to request weather? If I have not emitted it, I don't think I can.
Iberia 007, you are leaving my airspace to the south. Miami Center is offline. Frequency
I don't think I can do it. You're not supposed to do it when you're airborne. I'm just curious to see if I can get a METAR right now.
United 234, continue your left turn heading 030.
So we'll say 1830.
Allegiant 780, climb and maintain flight level 380, and you are clear direct to Vulcan. Victor, Uniform Zulu.
40.
530,
Alright, connect, and let's see if that will let me do this shortly here. If we can get weather.
Delta 3305, Jacksonville, you've left my airspace. Miami's offline. Frequency change is approved.
Might be too late to do this. Or it might not be allowed at all.
Jack Center, Frontier Flight
That'd be a
1590,
shame.
flight level 290.
I mean, you can still do it through P-Pilot.
Frontier Flight 1590.
I would say the V-pilot is a pretty reasonable approximation. But... Alright, winds are 280 at 13.
6130 in the box, Frontier Flight 1590.
Anyways,
and United,
it's going to change by the time we get there, but it just gives us something to look at anyways, and hopefully we don't have to change absolutely everything by the time we get there, so we can just change a few things.
United 234, clear visual approach, runway 36 left. Frontier Flight 1590, your radar contact 15 miles north of Columbia, maintain flight level 290.
290, Frontier Flight 1590.
Kodiak 9er, uniform kilo at pilot's discretion, ascend to maintain 1010,000, Orlando area altimeter 29098.
There is a way. I swear there was a way.
And American 514.
I swear there was a way to change the units.
Frequency changes approved. We'll see.
Unicom for American 514 today.
Darn if I can remember it now.
And Embraer 1 Juliet Charlie, leave my airspace to the south as well. Miami's offline. Frequency change approved. Have a good one.
And decimal 96.7.
I want to do that right now.
It's 607, Roger. You can expect...
Scan some other time.
I'll leave it up to you, actually. The visual for 36 left or visual 35 left?
Visual 36 left.
All right, now to 607, you can expect that.
Huh. I know there was a way to do it. I found it the other day. Darned if I can remember how to do this now. Application preferences, that's what I'm looking for. Temperature.
United T-34, wind 350 at 4, runway 36 left, cleared to land.
That's what I was looking for, okay. So now I can put in 28 degrees. 28 degrees. There we go. Now I got it in there. I knew there was a way to change that, and I'd forgotten all about it because someone had pointed out to me a while back, but yeah, I'd forgotten it. Darn it. Oh well. It's a beautiful day for flying anyways now that we left all the storms behind us. Beautiful day for flying.
November 64, Romeo Mike, Jacksonville Center, hello, Squawk 2.
You know, for those of you that are always seeking that ultimate level of immersion, you can always get yourself a bag of stale pretzels. Or toasted almonds or something. Get some bad coffee, get some stale pretzels, sit here and fly your sim. You want the ultimate in realism.
United 607, deviation left or right, of course, is approved. And after your deviation, you can just expect vectors for the visual 36 left. Just let me know when you're clear of the weather.
Roger. Deviation right, of course, approved. We'll let you know when we'll continue.
Sounds like other people are still dealing with that weather behind us, too. One thing I will say, and I will acknowledge that American ATC is usually extremely helpful.
571, leave my airspace to the north. Atlanta Center is unfortunately offline. Frequency change is approved. Have a good one.
Thank you very much for the service off to Unicom Transat 571. See ya. I assume that worked. He didn't respond, so. Here we go, back to Unicom. Now, one thing I will say about American ATC is they are always more helpful with bad weather than other countries anyways. And that partly comes from having good information. The controllers will have access to the Doppler weather radar and be able to overlay that on their radar screen so they can see the precipitation that's being picked up by the public weather radars and pass that information along to the pilots. And it's really useful because it helps. You know, it helps with ATC planning because you can see what's coming and you can see what diversions are going to be coming up. You can also see what am I trying to say here? You know, and you can see what the pilots are seeing. You can make suggestions to the pilots as well. Like, it looks like it would be better if you go this way or that way. And, you know, sometimes based on your traffic situation and what you know as an air traffic controller, you may be able to give better advice, what they're going to be having an easier time doing, and maybe not be in conflict with so much traffic where you'll be turning them constantly or changing altitudes or anything like that. But I've always found that American ATC is a lot better at that. A lot of other countries, they don't have the good weather radar feeds, and as a result, they're at the mercy of the pilots. The pilots have to tell the controllers what they need, what they want, and when they want it, because the controllers can't see anything. They're flying blind. And that's one thing that would be great, I think, to see added to the VATSIM network now. The controller clients, if they could support weather radar, perhaps with a feed from ActiveSky, which so many people use to fly online, have ActiveSky feeding in where the bad weather is into the controller clients, so the controllers can see where the bad weather is indicated, and they can provide vectors around it. They can estimate how long someone's going to have to be off course for, and when's the best point to turn back online. So there's a lot of neat things that could happen, and I hope will happen with this next generation of VATSIM. Now that the AFV is out there and the whole system is being modernized, the whole back-end architecture is being modernized, maybe we can support some of these things going forward. That would add a realistic twist, I think, to what's going on in the network sometimes. Anyways, as you can see, we've left Jacksonville's airspace. We don't have any other ATC online for the foreseeable future, so we're going to step away for just a few minutes here, take a little break, and let's see here. We'll definitely be back before our top of descent. So let's check this today, and let's make sure it's accurate, because we had a little issue the other day where it was not accurate. So use 11,000. That's a pretty realistic point to be descended by. And so let's see here. If I put descent with top of drop is at 2040 Zulu, which is a little under an hour from now. So if we step away until 2030 Zulu, and then we're ready before we hit our top of descent point, that would seem to be most useful. So let's do that. So step away for about 40 minutes. If any ATC shows up, we'll come back a little sooner, but in the meantime, hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. Is that Charlotte down there? No. Yes? Maybe? I think that is Charlotte down there. Let's do airports. Just recognize that the layout of that airport, it looks like Charlotte, and that makes sense from where we are. Yep, no, that is right there. That's Charlotte. I believe that's the FS Dream Team Charlotte over there. Nice. We're getting there. We're getting there. Anyways, as I said, step away for a little bit, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in just under an hour to set up for approach and landing in Toronto. So in the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys all real soon.
and push ahead. Of course. I don't need to ask why.
Alright guys, welcome back. Captain Abs is back with you once again, and we are back online a little bit ahead of schedule because VATSIM has provided, as it often does. We had very little ATC to speak of, but then we walked away for a little bit, come back, and there is some centers online, Cleveland Center specifically, whose airspace we are about to fly into, so let's get him dialed up.
Can copy that. How many souls on board? No souls, all cargo. Okay, no souls, all cargo. Copy that. Well, I guess you and the co-pilot, 2 souls? 2 souls, sorry. Yeah, the crew. Okay, 2 souls on board. And I don't need the fuel on board. We got that already. Okay, November 1 Charlie Lima, turn right heading 050. Right, 050.
Sounds like someone's having a little bit of a less than great time there. Cleveland Center, good afternoon. Transat 571, flight level 350.
Transit 571, Cleveland Center, good afternoon. Southwest 2051, you're leaving my airspace. Boston Center's not online. Radar service is terminated. Frequency change to Unicom is approved. Delta 7689, you're leaving my airspace to the south. Radar service is terminated. Frequency change to Unicom is approved.
Roger, change to Unicom, Cleveland Center, Delta 7689. We'll see you.
Alright. So I guess he's happy. Not going to change squawk code or anything. Good, go. I guess he's happy that we're here. Okay. So we have Cleveland Center online. Unfortunately now we are lacking in Toronto. We had Toronto Center earlier. They logged off. We had Toronto Arrival for a little while. They logged off. What VATSIM giveth, VATSIM taken away.
It's at 571 Cleveland Center, radar contact, maintain flight level 350.
Thank you, maintain flight level 350, Transat 571. What Toronto take, or what, yeah, VATSIM taketh, VATSIM giveth away. Giveth, taketh away? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Anyways. So we got some ATC and we got some other not ATC. So we're going to have to make up our own arrival here for Toronto. There's no ATIS online, but just looking at the VATS by weather here. And at 1900 Zulu, it's about almost half an hour old now, or almost an hour and a half old. Should be a new one very soon now. 280 at 13 gust 20, 260 variable around 320, 15 miles broken 4,000, 28 degrees, 20 degrees, 2985 on the meter.
I needed you to do. You can go in for runway 6 left if you need to. Fly heading 060.
Yeah, I've lost avionics, I'm sorry. November 1 Charlie Lima, I'm trying to fly towards the airfield and I just got regained control and got my hydraulics back.
Roger, copy, you lost avionics. Can you just turn left?
Turning left looking for the airfield. November 1 Charlie Lima.
Somebody's not having a good day. Okay, so we're showing a 61,000 kilo landing here.
FedEx 1296, fly runway heading winds 230 at 19er, gust 25, runway 23 clear for takeoff.
23 clear for takeoff, runway heading to XL9.
280, 13 gusting 20, so that's about 5.
Lima, the airport, it should be out your left window.
Go 12 knots.
5 miles.
Additive for now.
Looking, November 1 Charlie Lima.
Oh.
November 1 Charlie Lima, all runways at Cleveland Hopkins are available for you.
Hold on.
Copy, all runways, 1 Charlie
System
Lima.
page, application
You've got the 6s, you're pretty much south of the runway 6s. You also have runway 28. That would be the next runway if you can't turn to get on the 6s.
Oh, look, this guy is not having a good day.
1 Charlie Lima.
Alright, landing distance required, 7890. This is on a wet runway
make the field
with no reversers. We do have the reversers, so we're going to be able to do it less than that.
Roger, that's the closest we've got. 1 Charlie Lima, let me know.
I got it. I think I got it. I thought I was farther out than I was.
Okay, 1 Charlie Lima, any runway.
I'm not sure which runway it is, but I'm going in. It's going to be tight. November 1 Charlie Lima.
Okay, 1 Charlie Lima, you're cleared to land any runway. The wind at Cleveland is 310.
I'm enjoying listening to this. It's a little bit of drama in the background.
1 Charlie Lima.
Godspeed to you, 1 Charlie Lima. Alright, so the landing distance checks. And the speeds are checked. Let's see here, 24 right. Minimums, unfortunately, I know these like the back of my hand, so I can just put them in here without even doing it. 797.
Delta 9910, Cleveland Center,
A little bit
Roger.
sad at how well I know this number, but anyways. There you go. Minimums are set there, and let's just check in the FMS and see what we got here. Make sure we've got the routing set up here. Oxman, link 2 for 24 both, and then the ILS 24 right. That's all set up there. And then the
9910, the wind is 310 at 8.
The only thing I'm going to need for shirts
left
is Freak 109
request runway 4 left for departure.
1093? Wow, I know it well enough.
Depending on traffic, we'll be able to see if we can work that for you. Copy, understand, 4 left for departure.
1093. 109.
Okay, 4 right
3.
for Delta 9910, understood.
Cleveland Center, November 1 Charlie
Inbound course
Lima.
is 237.
I'm on the ECAS for 06 right. Thank you for the help.
Set inbound course 237 on your side.
And do all of our stuff and come back on. And
Set inbound course on your side 237.
And that was pretty good.
Number 1 Charlie Lima, glad you made it. You have a nice day.
Set inbound course on your side 237.
The trucks are rolling for you. The last call in Cleveland Center, your block, say again.
Set inbound course on your side 237. Set course on your side 237.
Okay, so expect 22 left. Roger.
I want to say the word inbound.
Next 1296, 5000.
FedEx 1296, Cleveland Center, radar contact.
Let's get set up for the descent. Let's get set up for the descent.
Direct James, Tampa, Alpha 32.
Let's start setting up for the descent.
1296.
One thing I should probably do before I do anything else is make sure that this is all set up correctly. Star ILS 30 bleeds on, final approach fix 2030, I think. Nope, 1970 on this side. 1970. Minimums are 796 now. It used to be 797, now 796. Just approach altitude is 3,000. I'm gonna say the runway's probably dry. I don't see too much happening out there. It looks like a nice day. Auto brake 2 as the exit course. Single engine taxi, no. Gate stand, gate.
Yeah, that's Juliet Hotel Whiskey.
APU delayed start, concerns none. There we go. Alright, so we got all that in there. I think we're just about ready here. Take a little sip from my coffee, and away we go. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
November 5025 call.
Okay, we're gonna do it this way.
India Sierra Tango Oscar November.
Take this off there for a second.
7,000.
We're gonna bring up this.
29901.
And I'm gonna have this.
Starting to descend to
Oh, but that's blank, so
7,000 to cross.
bring that up first.
Confirm, please, the point to cross of 17,000.
It's done. India Sierra Tango Oscar November waypoint.
Roger, India Sierra Tango Oscar November.
Alright, so
Confirm, please, the altimeter.
Buffalo altimeter 29901.
chart clip.
29901.
And alright.
5025.
So speeds are in. Lighting distance is checked. We're doing the link to arrival into Toronto on page 102D2. 20th of March 2020. We're doing the transition via Oxman. Notes, just RNAV 1 DDR just is required. 100 miles stays 49 jets only. Refer to continuous descent arrivals plate. We're going to go to Oxman. Let me just pull up the legs page here. No, that's not it. There it is. Oxman. After that we go to T-Mills, MyPal, Ling, and then Youth at 1296 knots between 11 and 13,000. Then we go to Bimpo at 8,000 at 210 knots. Furco, Mayrod, Deckney, Davno, and Dunol. And that's all good. And then 057 track until we get vectored around for the ILS to runway 24 right. So on plate 11-8 and effective on the 21st day of May of 2020. Loc INV 1093.
Center, November 45 Lima Romeo, request IFR to Nebraska
Is set
City.
both times.
November 45 Lima Romeo.
And the 237 inbound course set both sides.
Stand by.
Glide slope at NOAA is 1970 there, and the ILSDA of 796. There we go. That's better. Touchdown zone at 546. And on the overhead panel, let's see here, landing at 550. Perfect. That's set. MSA is highest. All sectors around Toronto, 3,100 feet. The missed approach is heading 237 to 1.5 DME. Should be right there. There it is. And then heading 189, intercept to 189 radial outbound to Petfo and hold at 3,000. Radar not required. Taxi with Charlie, looks similar. 100 miles, say 49. Simultaneous approaches with 2-3 and local level 10 degree center line. No procedure turns authorized. It's a 3-degree glide slope. Happy's on the left with SSALS lighting system. It's going to be turned on.
Delta 9910 clear to the
let's see here. Weather. Sorry, and then 796 or RVR 5000.
Golf November Zulu Oscar Echo.
And then we're going to taxi into Terminal 3 after we land 2-4 rights, convenient right turns. Probably going to be Charlie 4, might make Charlie 2, but I pretty much doubt that. So probably going to be Charlie 4, hard right back onto Charlie because the construction and Alpha up to Alpha Juliet for Terminal 3. Going to park somewhere over here for customs clearance. I don't know where. We'll pick a gate when we get to probably in the Charlie gates anyways, but we'll see when we get there. And that's about it for the charts.
Delta 9910, thank you for Gonzo. I wouldn't have considered that with no vowel in there.
Terrain is
Pushback is correct. Pushback and engine start.
Let's see here. Terrain is again 3,100 foot MSA all around Toronto. Weather is it looks pretty nice actually out there. I don't see any convective activity anymore or anything, so I think we're going to have an okay ride in there. Just a little bit gusty wind out of the northwest, west-northwest. And weather operational. No MELs, no TAMs.
Well, I think I like that one, Gonzo. I'm going to use that going forward.
Let's see here. Taxi Quebec closed, Juliet closed, Hotel.
Cleveland Center, United
3 Romeo,
93.
Hotel Foxtrot Golf, Charlie, nothing that affects our taxi clearance per se here. Echo between Victor Charlie, Delta between Charlie 2 and Bravo. That's the only one. Again, that's closed, so we still have to. 0523 is closed for a couple hours today. 15 left, 33 right is closed permanently. Well, not permanently, but semi-permanently for the summer for repaving. So there ain't no way you're landing on that. So.
I should be able to pick you up. Give me when you're about.
Isles runway 23. Yeah, so nothing there that affects us at all.
See what we can do.
And so that's operational, no meals in the aircraft, and fuel to go to Montreal. As I recall, we needed 3.2, and we are showing up with 4.7, so we got 1.5 extra, so we can hang out for a good 20-30 minutes before we have to consider going off to Montreal. And that's about all I've got. Any questions?
None.
Well, you're easy. Yeah, it was a pretty thorough briefing, I guess. He got it all the first time around. Good stuff. Alright. Any Toronto controllers yet? Toronto controllers? Toronto? No. Yeah. Alright, almost done. We are approaching our top of descent point here in the next 30-35 miles. Any minute now, Cleveland's going to give us a descent clearance early.
45 Lima Romeo, go ahead.
And down we go.
I was just curious if I could refile.
So trying to think of ways to get people to chat a little more, and so the one thing I came up with is maybe trying to have like a question of the day at some point that we can discuss. And I'd be curious, even if those of you that are not watching this live on Twitter, or live on Twitch, but are watching it on YouTube, you can always reply in the comments below. But what do you do to kill time during cruise in the sim?
So my apologies.
Or in the real world, if you fly for the real world, for that matter. What do you do to kill time in cruise? Because cruise is a pretty uneventful, understimulating time in flight. There's not much going on. You know, in the real airplane, you're still talking on the radio a fair bit, and the other thing you can do, of course, is just chat with the guy next to you. Find anything you have in common: TV shows, movies, hobbies. Try to avoid politics and religion. Ask them about their kids, for crying out loud, you know, or where they live, you know, how you get into business. Like, there's just empty billion different things you can talk about. So it's when you've got somebody with you, it's pretty easy to find stuff to talk about. Unless you've flown with them a lot and you already know everything about them, which doesn't happen so much in the airline business, but when you're working charter, that happens a lot. When you've got a very limited number of people you fly with, you can get to know them very well. I had a couple of people that I used to fly with when I was working, doing
Transcon 571, descend and maintain flight level 2. Descend and maintain flight level 210.
Flight level 210 for Transat 571. I think he called us Transcon, but I imagine he meant us. Alright, there's 210. And descend now. Execute. And there we go, down we go. Descent checklist.
Descent checklist. Pressurization. Landing altitude is 550 feet. Recall checked. Auto brake level 2. Landing data.
VREF 143. Minimums 796 feet set.
Checked. Approach briefing.
Complete.
Descent checklist complete.
That was easy. So what do you do to kill time in the flight deck? Of course, now we're no longer in cruise, and we have ATC that we have to talk to, but what do you do to kill time during your...
Transat 571, squawk 5753 for me.
Squawking 5753, Transat 571.
Cleveland, United 8693.
57.
United 8693, Cleveland.
5.
So we actually just reviewed our flight plan. We don't actually enter your airspace till after the Sierra Foxtrot Kilo VOR, so we'll go back to advisory. Sorry to bother you.
United 8693, roger. Frequency change approved.
5753, there it is. Yeah. You know, there could be, depending on what you do in VATSIM, there could be some long cruise legs sometimes. A lot of people do shorter flights to try to get it in 1 or 2 hours. What do you do on those flights where you're in cruise for 1 or 2 hours? Do you really sit on the flight deck the whole time? Do you try to at least find ways to occupy yourself? you know, there's a thousand things you could be doing, but I'm curious to know what people do. Do you pick up a book? You know, read a book, do some studying. I know some people do some studying. They fire up a flight and then they do studying or they do homework while they're in the cruise portion of flight. Me, I tend to clean my office. My office is, over the years that I've lived in my current house, has turned into a bit of a disaster. And I am on a kind of a long-term bender of trying to clean it up, just ditch all the extra junk I have around my office, and I have so much extra stuff around my office, so I'm trying to get rid of some of that. Yeah, so that's something that I try to do anyways. And then it keeps me very close to flight deck. I can still see, hear what's happening. If anything was to fail, I would know. If ATC comes online, I can hear them right away. So I'm just 10 feet away from the computer at most. But you know, it gives me something to do, take up some time while I'm while you're stuck in cruise, not doing much. I might do other household chores as well, just to try and kill time. But yeah, right now it's cleaning the office. I have so much, like it's a paper that's accumulated and all sorts of things that have accumulated over the last decade, give or take. So every once in a while you need to do a good clean, good purging, and stuff just sort of gets filed on under the I'll deal with it later file, and ends up piled around. So I'm in the midst of that. So I'm curious to know what do you guys do as well? Anybody want to volunteer anything, either right now on Twitch or in the YouTube comments? What do you guys do to kill time when you're in cruise in the sim? Studying would be a great way to do it as well. Studying the sim. You know, look at the manuals. How many thousands of pages of manuals did PMDG supply with this product when they sold it to me? I could spend a lot of time. You know, if I spent even 30 minutes every time I was in cruise reading through those manuals, I would have most of them read and learned by now. But I find other ways to kill time. But that's a great way as well, is take some of that time, because then you're also in the airplane. You can see the various functions. You can interact with them. So that's also useful in that respect. Alright, we're going to catch up to the VNAV profile here shortly. And I think what we might do is pick up speed a little bit here. So let's see if I can do a custom speed, because I don't want to do the economy descent. I want to do
9910, runway 22 left taxi via Kilo, Yankee 10, Detroit altimeter 29904. And you're 9910 heavy, you're going to be ready to go there? Absolutely. Would you mind if you back up the roll and takeoff? What do you want to do on takeoff?
Just trying to set a speed in here. There we go.
Oh, that. Yeah, if you're gonna, if you're ready to go, okay, yeah.
There we go. So now it's going to be a little bit of a steeper profile. We're already descending on it, but keep the speed up and get to Toronto a little bit sooner. We got lots of gas still in the tank, so we don't need to necessarily do like a gliding 250 knot descent. We can keep it up at 300, 310.
Are now forwards. That should be your first waypoint.
That'll get me there about 3 or 4 minutes faster. Not much, but it helps. A little bit of convective stuff up there, but nothing too crazy.
Center, FedEx 1296, request higher.
FedEx 1296, climb and maintain flight level 360.
Climb and maintain flight level 360, UPA, correction, FedEx 1296.
One thing I did just see while I stepped away there, I was just sort of scanning through again, and just announced, just sort of, well, not necessarily announced, but just posted while we were away there during a little break, was that
571 to maintain 16,000, Buffalo altimeter 29901.
Descend 16,000 on 29901, Transat 571. There we go. 16,000 feet set. 2991 on the meter. What was I going to say? Yeah, so just posted was a whole bunch of screenshots for GSX coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator. So Apparently, it is a work in progress. It appears to be fairly advanced progress, so it looks like it's going to be ready to be launched in the sim within the next little while. So it's funny, all these, you know, if you don't hear from a developer for a while, you start to wonder what they're doing, and are they doing anything? And I guess the answer is usually, yeah, they're doing a lot, but especially in the development phase, you don't hear a lot. Especially right now, in this kind of a development phase that we're in, where everybody is shifting gears, learning a new SDK, and this is something that that everyone's learning. All the developers are really starting to learn this now. Is how to build stuff for the new sim, and of course they want to start porting all their products as quickly as they can into the new sim. So this is something that now is really taking off. People are putting out a lot of previewing a lot of products anyways, but they've been putting a lot of time into it. But it's funny because you don't hear about that a lot of time. Some developers toot their horn a lot and sort of show off previews constantly as they're working. Others remain very quiet until near the end. And you wonder if they're still there and if they're still working, and they are. But you wonder because you don't hear much from them in the interim. And FS Dream Team's one that they tend to get a lot of hubbub when they get a new release, and then they're very quiet in between the releases. They don't say too much in between their major releases, and they have been quiet for a while. Obviously, they had their big O'Hare release not too long ago, but then after that, they were again went very quiet. We've all sort of been wondering, hey, are you working on anything new? What's coming up next? And they haven't said much. And a lot of it, I think, was the case. Of course, they're working on the new sim, but nobody really knew that for sure. Nobody said much. Nobody really knew much about what was happening, unfortunately. So it's good to see that they're working on that. I'm glad to see that because GSX is definitely something that I won't say I can't live without it, but I've gotten very used to using it. I think it's very useful software. It adds a huge level of immersion, having the vehicles, the simulated times it takes for fueling and boarding and everything else, and the pushback. So it's the time element, the simulation of all those different aspects of pre-flight servicing coming together, and then the pushback, because the pushbacks, you know, most places a 9-degree pushback will just not work, or a straight back push won't really work. You need something somewhere in the middle. So the way GSX is able to work with all sorts of different airports and be able to push back to a reasonable location at so many airports, and even then giving you the capability to customize it when it's not working, that's huge. That is really huge. So GSX is one that I'll be happy to see come to the new sim. I don't know what capabilities the new sim has, really, and that's, I think, another part of the problem is you know, we don't know what's built in, what's baked into the sim. What are there any good things that are baked into the sim? How is the ground surfacing? I know there's a lot more ground surfacing equipment being detailed, but does it work well with the rest of the sim? You know, these are questions that we really just don't have answers for. So we don't know how many of these products are going to be really worthwhile early on or not. It's a little bit early to be doing that 20,000 feet. I guess if you got a bigger airplane, but it's not even a huge airplane, it's a 3.7. It's not exactly a big airplane. It shouldn't take that long to clean up. Get it ready for landing, but anyways. Now, I was just looking on VATSPy, and this guy over here, at our 11 o'clock, or at our...
Transat 571, you're leaving my airspace. Toronto ATC is not online. Radar service is terminated. Frequency change approved.
Alright, switch to Unicom now for Transat 571. Thanks, have a great day.
November 5025, Toronto Air Traffic Control Service is not online. Leaving my airspace.
Right,
radar service.
So we're going to set 11,000 because that'll be what Toronto Center would normally give us as a crossing restriction there for Ling. So, what we've got here, this guy at our 2 o'clock is also inbound to Toronto in a citation. So, he's a little bit above where we are. I'm curious to see if we're going to get there before he does. I'm trying to keep the speed up. It's working out really well, actually. Transition 2984 set.
November 525, arrival Lima, India, November 2, South 2, leaving flight level 200 to 17,000 feet, crossing 4707.
so I'm going to try and beat him to Ling anyways here and stay ahead of him, hopefully, for the approach. Transition. 2984 set. Altimeter 2984 set. Actually, I think it's 85, isn't it? It's 86 now. The wind's 270, 16, gusting 20, 250 miles per hour, 3800, 2986. There we go. 2986 is now set. There we go. And very shortly here, we're going to start decelerating. There's a deceleration point right there, and then it's going to slow back to the 250 for youth. I think we have accelerated ahead of the other traffic. We're keeping the speed up on the descent here. We can stay ahead. If we'd kept it at 268 knots like the FMS originally wanted to fly, we'd probably be behind it by now. Alright. Take a last few swigs of my coffee, and we're just about ready here. Not too much activity in Toronto this afternoon, no ATC, and only a handful of airplanes, so hopefully we can get on the ground without too many conflicts.
The cabin is secure.
Checked. Well, you might as well do the approach checklist.
Altimeters.
2986 set.
2986 set. Approach checklist complete.
Checked. Alright, just wait until we get to within about 25-mile range of Toronto. Checked. Checked. And as we hit the decel, it's going to stop descending anyways here. And here comes the speed decrease, so the power will never come up again, which is perfectly timed. And it should just come back just to hit youth at 250 at 11,000. And I'm going to go ahead and set 8,000. Now the reason why I wait to 25 miles is because there is a built-in limitation in the audio for VATSIM that on the Unicom frequency your broadcasts are only good for about 25 miles. And this is done intentionally because the same Unicom frequency is used everywhere, so it helps reduce the amount of traffic on the Unicom frequency. You don't hear people 100 miles away calling on final for an airport that you don't care anything about. So you'll only hear things that are fairly close to you. Of course, that means you should wait till you're generally within 25 miles of your destination before you try to make your first traffic calls. Toronto traffic at afternoon Transat 571 is 737-800. About 25 miles south of the field, Ling 2 arrival, just crossed Ling, and setting up for ILS runway 24 right in about 8 minutes. I don't know if it's actually 8 minutes. Okay, I made that one up because I don't have the time right in front of me, but at the very least, it'll give people a good idea. Actually, it's going to be more like 16 minutes. Well, maybe not 16 minutes, but about 10 minutes probably by the time we get to the ground. Alright, so we just passed Youth, we hit the 250, we hit 11,000, and now we're hitting 8,000 at Bimbo. Approach checklist is already complete at 10,000. Let's just make sure lights are on. And pressurization, it is coming down. Seatbelts are on. Yeah, and they did already say the cabin's secured, so we're good. Move the weather radar up. There's just a few buildups, but nothing showing up on the weather radar, so we're not going to deviate around any of that. It's good. A little bit cloudy, but not terrible. Put that back onto auto. It's done a pretty good job of tracking to 8,000 precisely at Bimbo there. Now I really finished off my coffee that time. Which is perfect, because we're just about home. Alright. Oh, the home stretch. Home sweet home. There comes the shoreline into view down there. Looking pretty good. We should actually probably be able to call for a gate really quickly here while we're just dealing with the descent. So we're going to a Charlie gate. Let's do Charlie 27. Handling by WestJet there? Oh, whatever.
1011.
Toronto traffic, good afternoon. This is Air Canada 121 at gate Charlie 50, about to push back, and aircraft type is a 787-8.
Alright, so we're just about to level at 8,000. Speed should be 210 at BIMPO, but we will be fine because we're going to level off here in a second and then it'll lose all that speed. Alright, so people are making calls on Unicom, and this is why. Somebody asked me the other day too, commented on my YouTube channel, why do I bother making all these Unicom calls at a busy airport like Toronto when the whole thing is pretend anyways? Why don't I just pretend to call the tower and everything else like that? And the whole reason is this, is the interaction with other people. There are other people out here who are making radio calls and transmitting their intentions, and I coordinate with these other people by making similar radio calls. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and hit 6,000, we're going to hit level change, and we're going to keep the speed at 210. Which will allow us to just stay clean for a little bit here and not waste too much gas as we slow down and go down. Here's the airport out there. Swinging out on the downwind. And I mean, I recognize the landmarks here, I recognize the park and the highways and everything, but I also recognize the fact that the scenery is generic. It's the shape is correct, the location is correct, but it's not the actual, you know, amount of trees or specific color of the road there. It'll be interesting to see what happens when we get into this new sim. It's going to be interesting to see it. How realistic a city's going to look, especially Toronto is going to look really good in the new sim because Billy Bishop is one of the airports that's featured in the new sim and it's right there, right downtown. So you can't do that airport without doing a very solid rendition of downtown Toronto. So to see that new version of Toronto is going to be great. I can't wait. That's basically what I plan to do on my first stream, is just go out there and just see what it looks like from Toronto. See how realistic some of this stuff looks. And I recognize, like, I know this river. I've been to that park. You know, driven down those roads. I know these places. But again, it's not quite as realistic. You know, it's obviously their simplifications, their common textures used and reused 1,000 times. Alright, gonna descend to 4,000 now. Alright, let's start configuring. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
Right now descending at 1,100 feet per minute. That should increase our descent rate. Once it stabilizes flap 5. Should increase our drag. It really hasn't increased our descent rate much here yet. Plane's slowing down though, so it's going to start going down to keep the speed up a little more. There, 1,200, 1,300, yeah, it did work eventually, but in this case, you know, it's just a little bit of extra drag, but it takes a little while for the airplane to react to this here. Alright.
5,000.
Checked. Alright, almost there. We're going to just start the base turn momentarily here. Without the ATC, it's just a lot of judgment. Checked. Set 3,000.
Glide slope alive.
Alright, we got 3,000 feet set, heading 330, speed 190. course in there.
Are you sure about that?
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
1,000 to level.
Checked. Heading 270.
Checked.
VOR low glide slope armed. Speed 180.
Checked.
2,500.
Flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
Sorry, I've got a cord in my way here that's just obstructing my rudder pedal. Doesn't help. That's a little better. Obstructions to rudder pedals are not a good thing. Toronto traffic, Transat 571 is approaching a 10-mile final, runway 24 right. Any second now it's going to come in. Glide slope's alive.
Check.
They've turned a second too early there. Just watching for that loc. Where is it? Localizer's alive.
Check. Localizer alive.
Thank you. Loc. Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 15.
Flaps 15.
Probably saw the movie map open, don't I? Which is churning up a lot of processor unnecessarily. Flaps 20. Sorry, flaps 25.
Flaps 25.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 30.
Speed brake armed.
Runway.
Checked.
Checked.
Toronto traffic, Air Canada 121 just started taxiing 24 right via Alpha Lima, Bravo Charlie, and we'll hold short 24 right.
Set speed 153.
Fine approach fix. Height checked. Missed approach altitude set. Speed 153 set.
Toronto traffic, Transat 571 is NOAA, 5 mile final, 24 right. Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Speed brake.
Armed.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
Flaps 30, green light.
Landing checklist complete.
Check. So we got a bit of a gusty wind here.
1,000.
Cleared.
Check.
Landing.
Stable. Check.
Checked. So we're carrying a little bit of extra speed over our target VREF today because of the gusty winds. Give us a little bit of a cushion there.
Roger.
Ugh. Autopilot off.
Check.
And then we're going to take off the auto thrust as well because I don't trust it. Last time I landed this airplane, it wanted to accelerate big time. Landing.
Check.
Minimums.
I'm going to verify here to the 5 and approach. Link 2 at the moment, 5,000 feet.
50, 40, 30.
It's going to float through the touchdown zone if I don't get it down there. No, I don't like this. No. Alright. Nope, screw it. Go around. Flaps. Go around, flaps. Go around, flaps. Positive brake, gear up.
Too low, gear.
Unfortunately, I didn't pull the power out of idle fast enough, and she really floated through that. Toronto Traffic Transit 571 to go around 248. It's a pretty nice approach, too. It's a shame. Oh well, we'll just do it again. Sometimes stuff happens. Let's get the speed going to 2.
Checked.
Flaps 1. Flaps up. After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds. On. Packs. Auto. Landing gear. Up and off. Flaps. Up. No lights. After takeoff checklist complete.
Check. Disarm the speed brake and come around for another try on 248. That was
are you sure about that?
Quiet you.
Release the cabin crew?
No. Go away. Okay. Yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and get let's do this again here.
Ground traffic, Air Canada 121, holding short of 24 right. Any traffic on final, please advise.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put PICMA in again to give us something to look at. 237 inbound to PICMA, and then we'll be able to see what's on final there. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we're basically set up on another downwind at 3,000 feet.
And Air Canada 121, Toronto traffic, Air Canada 121, departing route 24 right.
There we go, we're on the downwind again for 248. Toronto Traffic Transat 571 is on the left downwind for another ILS 248. Yep, that did not go well. But that's what happens sometimes, you know what, and you gotta just make do with it. Alright, we're just gonna skip right to the next landing checklist. And yeah, we just make do with it. It wasn't the ideal situation. But as I said, dealing with it. I might just bump the speed up a little bit more for the downwind here. Just to get us to the point where we can turn base again a little faster. Down there somewhere. I didn't see where he was, but that airplane is departing is down there somewhere. It's a lot different to fly this approach at, or this downwind at 3,000 feet than it is to be descend at 8,000 feet. A little bit closer to the ground now, a little closer to the terrain. Alright. Well, I guess we're going to make up that 5:10 arrival time that we originally planned on. Wasn't what I wanted, but that's okay. What are you gonna do? Things happen. That was not that was not a good approach. It was a good approach, it was not a good landing. It was gonna be when you float past that touchdown zone and you don't land in that first third of the runway, just come back and try it again. That's why you take extra gas. Much better off trying to make that decision and explain away a go around than trying to explain how you went up.
Air Canada 121, clear of the active, passing 2,600. Turning.
Alright. So just to be MadDog, we can probably make that turn.
And around traffic, Air Canada 121, turning right, directed Tillam on course, passing 3,800.
Okay. Start letting this thing decelerate here. Heading 330. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
There should be some apartment buildings around here. A lot of apartment buildings actually around here. Oh, I can't wait to see that new sim, see how much more realistic some of these things are. Alright, 270, approach armed. Might do 280 per second. Flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
Where's it going? That is weird. Loke. That was a weird turn there. Didn't do the heading I asked it to do. At least from a low glide slope. Toronto traffic, Transat 571 is 12 mile final, runway 24 right. It's getting kind of overcast and cloudy out here, isn't it? There we go. Glide slope's alive. Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 15.
Flaps 15.
Glide slope, go around altitude set. I don't think I reset the VREF. The VREF got reset, didn't it? Did. There we go. We're also not inbound. We also skipped a fix there. There we go.
Checked.
There's the waypoints went on the sequence properly. Flaps 30.
Flaps 30.
Okay, the winds are no longer as gusty, so we're going to assume it's going to be okay here. Toronto traffic, Transat 571 is on the ILS runway 248. Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start
For all
switches.
traffic,
Continuous.
Speed brake.
approach to
Armed.
ILS runway
Landing
05,
gear.
November 5025.
Down.
Flaps.
Flaps 30, green light.
Landing checklist complete.
Check. Cleared. Landing.
Check.
Guess he must have some other weather if he's landing on 05. Autopilot coming out. Auto thrust coming out. Where's my GPWS warnings?
10.
There's one. And we floated again. That was...
Check. Speed brake up. Reversers normal.
not as good as it could have been. We almost nailed that one. For some reason my GPWS callouts all failed on me as well.
Auto brake disarmed. 60 knots.
Checked.
Check.
Toronto traffic, Transat 571 is clearing, runway 24 right, taxiing Charlie Alpha Alpha Julia for Terminal 3. Okay to clean up.
Check.
Again, bounce that one a little bit. Just a little bit of extra speed can make it really hard to do a nice landing on these
Master
things.
caution, anti-ice.
Checked. Alright, the right turn here on Charlie. Boy, it's taking those extras a long time to load. There they go. Slideshow, that is my computer now. Just confirm confirm that they are still waiting at Charlie 27 for us. They are. Good.
Traffic United 8693 with you, link to arrival, vacating 9000. We're going to our left downwind for your ILS 24 left, Toronto.
Probably get rid of that flashing auto thrust. And there we are. See, and this is why Unicom works, people. We can communicate, we can talk about what we're doing, coordinate our activities between people who are otherwise would be doing completely different things. At least know that what we're doing is safe relative to what other people are doing. It's a system that works, and then when the traffic levels are low, and that's the whole point of the Unicom system, is that anywhere where traffic levels are low, Unicom exists, where pilots can just communicate on a common frequency. When the traffic levels get higher, and someone whose sole duty is to coordinate traffic, that's when you start to get an air traffic control tower and other air traffic control facilities. And most of the time on VATSIM it works because most of the time the traffic levels are so low, there's only a handful of us flying at any particular airport that we can deal with what we're dealing with. That was probably more brakes than I needed on that. Alright, round we go. Going up to gate Charlie 27 up at Terminal 3. And I see some flashing lights out there, so that's probably the Citation landing with the tailwind on 05 there. You did cycle all the lights, right? You did not turn off any of the landing lights, or those ones for that matter. You're not much help, Eddie. Sometimes I wonder about you. It's a quiet afternoon in Toronto. I would have thought by now, it's 5 o'clock local time, I would have thought it'd be a little bit busier than this. But it really is a bit of a dead day here. What are you going to do? Summer is waning quickly, so people are probably outside. Thank you. Outside enjoying the good weather rather than sitting in the sim staring at the computer.
Now on taxiway Bravo.
Charlie Coffee.
Traffic United 8693 left downwind for ILS 24 left, Toronto.
Alright, here comes Terminal 3. And I believe we're going to Charlie 27, which I believe is in the middle, so we'll just keep going straight ahead here, take Alpha Juliet, and roll right into the gate.
Number 5025, taxiing via Bravo. Alpha Echo to cargo airport. We're gonna contact on ground.
I wonder if some of the other issues with AI traffic packs are going to start to be removed in the new version. For example, if you have a beacon on, all the strobes on your airplane flash, and strobes and beacons are usually two separate light switches, two separate sets of lights. So it's funny when they're flashing. With the AI models, when you're taxiing around with just the beacon on, like you normally would, and the strobes are flashing as well, and that's again, it's a limitation of the network, but I wish someone would address that because it's a very distracting limitation. Nobody's taxiing around with their strobes on. Start the APU, please.
Starting APU.
Thank you. How long before this scenery comes into the Flight Simulator 2? Because there's a huge airport that I think is missing from FS 2020 is Toronto. Fly Tampa, you got a great market there if you capitalize on it and get it in the sim quickly. Because this is one of your classic sceneries that people just love. Right up there, I think the Saint Martin too is just scenery people just love. Alright, there's Charlie 27 in the corner. And there we go. Got it done. Another leg.
November 5025 for target cargo aircraft.
Okay, we'll say marshals in sight. Lights and doors.
Check.
There he is.
Cabin crew, disarm doors and cross-check. Doors disarmed. APU on the bus.
Checked.
Toronto traffic, United, 8693 base and final for 24 left, Toronto.
It's good to see. I think the ATC Unicom on VATSIM is becoming more and more popular too over time. It feels like it anyways. More and more people are using it, taking full advantage of it, and making the proper calls regularly now. I think at first people just didn't know what to do with it, but it seems like I hear more people calling voice Unicom now than text Unicom, which is good. Which is great because it's easier. Text, you have to look over the other screen, you have to read, you have to type while you're on final. You know, talking, you can just hold down one button while you're flying the airplane. Okay, he said they're on the bus, so we can go ahead and do this. He's got a bunch of stuff to do. I got a bunch of stuff to do. Operate jetways. Waiting for GSX to recognize that we stopped. Come on. Recognize that we stopped. Get your stuff done.
Sure, on the traffic. United 80, blah, blah, blah. 86
Shut down checklist.
With you 10 mile, or less than 10 mile final, 24 left. Toronto.
Shut down checklist.
Shut down checklist. Fuel pumps, off. Probe heat, off. Hydraulic panel, set. Flaps, up. Parking brake.
Set.
Engine start levers.
Cut off.
Weather radar.
Off.
Off. Shutdown checklist complete.
Alright, here comes the jetway at long last. Boy, it took a little while for that to get there. But that's it. Another leg is done, guys. We are finished. Here comes the jet bridge ready to meet us. And we can check here, and it has cycled off the next leg, Transat 11, back to Montreal. Quick little check of the dashboard here. And 171 experience points. We need 200. We need only about another 29 and a half to go, 29 and 3/4 to go, and we will be promoted. Hooray! So that's it, and let's check here. 251 feet per minute was not a pretty landing. I will be the first to acknowledge that. Again, it was kind of floating, it bounced a little bit. Which of those touchdowns was the 251? Was it the first one or the second one? But anyways, we're here, and that's the important thing, so we're ready for another leg. And in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Do appreciate all the likes, subscribes, and yeah, that's it for today. Hopefully we'll get that next leg done sometime in the not too distant future, but it's going to be a little bit more sporadic than it has been for the last little while. So in the meantime, guys, stay healthy, stay safe out there, and we will see you on the flight deck again real soon. Take care.